This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike. Talking sixes in the bird gang, that's our life. Competition, we ain't scared, yeah, that's what we like. Win or lose, you know we showing up and we gon' fight. You see we strive for the sky every day that go by. And every single week we screaming fly, eagles fly. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah.
What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, host of the Philly Talk podcast, but we not here for that. It's GOAT Talk podcast.
Yes,
back
sir.
in the building, middle of the week. You know why? Because there's some juicy stuff to talk about. We ain't get to do last week. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed the 4th of July. And let's talk, LB.
Let's talk. So it's been a lot of stuff going on in just overall Eagles land and Eagles news. You know, some of it centers around, well, most of it has been centered around Miles Sanders, you know, for the most part, you know, of the better last of 2 weeks or whatever. But, you know, how do you feel about the comments that Miles Sanders made? And how do you feel about the way AJ Brown responded? I hate to dive right deep into that one, but that's been a big thing, though.
Yeah. Look, Miles Sanders' comments didn't really bother me for the simple fact that I think everybody was going Dream Team 2.0 and it's totally different. To me, you know, I'm a big basketball fan. When I think of the Dream Team, I think of something that can never be matched. An All-Stars team, there's always All-Star teams every year, new All-Star type players, new Pro Bowl type players. You were a Pro Bowl player this year, you're not next year. You weren't this year, next year. So I think he was just looking at the names and what guys have done already and how they have all-star traits, whether it's collegiate and or in the NFL. And so did he jump a gun a little bit? Maybe, but I wasn't mad because of what was assembled via Howie Roseman, plus what we brought back this offseason. And I think people went too far. Miles Sanders is a guy who knows some of these guys went to war with him. The Dream Team comment was a guy who just got to our team and was a backup. He wasn't about to bring nothing to the table unless something happened to our starting quarterback. So I think it was blown out of proportion, but I do like the leadership and the mindset of AJ Brown correcting it his way, because it, you know, it could have got way off track by other players. That's my take on it.
My thing is this: I feel Miles, because when like what you just said, All Stars equal Pro Bowlers. You know what I mean? If you're talking NBA to NFL, and Miles Sanders is right. Just look at how many former Pro Bowlers or current Pro Bowlers are on the roster, especially with the amount of moves that you made. So yeah, you're damn right. It feels like an All Star team. It's a lot of guys who are really good at what they do, a part of the Philadelphia Eagles roster this season. So I was cool with that. And, you know, I wasn't mad at AJ Brown either. I'm more mad at the media, because a lot of people didn't really capture the full, you know, the full entree of Miles Sanders' comments. Miles Sanders ended that comment or that phrase with saying, well, we got to put it together on the field. And, you know, AJ Brown comes through and he makes his tweet. And at the end of his tweet, we got to put it together on the field. And everybody's saying, oh, AJ Brown saved the season, or AJ Brown saved Miles Sanders, or he broke the curse. No, they both said the same thing. I just think it was a little irresponsible in the way that the media manipulated everybody to having it look like Miles Sanders was saying that this is a dream team. So, yeah, I'm kind of on board with you with that.
Yeah, because that's the thing. You know, I just said my whole spiel, right? And it's easy to quote it on a piece of paper, 10 words I said, and not the whole 18 words I said to finish my sentence. And I do like the fact that, you know, AJ Brown pretty much said what Miles Sanders did, but in the context of, we're not even going to call ourselves all-star teams until we do it. And that's just a guy who came into the league not unproven, but a second round pick when he thought he should have been better, and then went out there and proved it. He was silent. Nobody thought of AJ Brown as a diva, as a talker, because he went out there and worked. So he just taking what he's always done in the NFL and applying it to the Eagles. And I ain't mad at that at all. That's blue collar stuff. That's work. That's Philadelphia stuff. And so I think a guy who we still think can be better and can show more, I like it. And again, it was no shade to Miles. He explained how he's excited, just like we all are. And I think the tweets were kind of similar, just one was taken more out of context, as you said.
Right. Now, but I do think it kind of did put a target on Miles' back, though, because then right after that, you get what happened after that? Something else happened with Miles. It's right. I just had it in my mind. So right after the All-Star comments, Miles is unhappy about the touches. You know what I mean? And Miles is, you know, making comments about stuff like that. So when Miles says the All-Star thing, then he gets another interview. Right. I just don't like how Philadelphia media does that, man, or just meet the national media in general. So now you got Miles Sanders, you know, getting a little emotional, if you ask me, talking about his targets, talking about utilization and things of that nature. Listen, that was last year. You know what I'm saying? I'm a huge Miles Sanders fan. I like Miles Sanders, but the facts of the matter is that he's one of those guys that have to step up. It's not as drastic as a Jalen Rager, but it is still drastic. We still want to see more out of Miles Sanders. So, hopefully the talking is over. Camp is about to, get underway. Thank God we haven't had any injuries or nobody going to jail. Nobody
Yeah.
JPP themselves on 4th of July with no fireworks. Everything is smooth sailing with the health of the team right now, and I want to keep it that way.
Yeah, just to finish up on the Miles Sanders talk before we get into CBS's article.
Mhm.
Thomas R. Peterson, the guy from Breaking Birds, we both follow him on Twitter.
Right.
He dropped a tweet. Miles Sanders had the highest percentage of runs resulting in positive yards amongst RBs in the NFL last season. His 5.5 yards per run was fourth highest amongst RBs. Per PFF minimum 100 carries. So again, this goes to what Miles Sanders, when the ball's in his hands, things happen. And again, if you look at a game by game sample size, running backs need them carries to get going. He didn't hit the home runs as we wanted to last year, and having 0 touchdown is something that has to be dealt with and
This
talked
will be
about.
rectified week 1. I think he has to score against the Lions week 1.
Hey, I would you on that. But I've never been a guy that says Miles Sanders don't have talent and skill. It's just about the ability to stay on the field, ability to take the carries, and then again stay on the field, because you're getting hurt without the opportunities. I just feel like, he has to make the coaches want to give him the opportunities, and I think this is his year to do that. He'll be as well rested as he's ever been, with more a target or more motivation. So we'll see where Miles Sanders goes. We were the number 1 rushing attack last year. It started when he was out and Jordan Howard got the go. He's not here, so Miles got to be that guy with Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott. I still think the committee is going to be there. This is what the Eagles want to do. But I'm expecting big things for the run game as well.
I agree. I think Miles Sanders has to, actually, I think he has to take every opportunity given to him. He has to look to find an end zone every time he touched the ball, because, man, Kenneth Gainwell is coming. And
Yep.
Kenneth Gainwell is such a Swiss Army knife. I mean, now, Kenneth Gainwell ain't a big back per se, but he was our red zone guy a lot last year. And he proved that he could, run and get those tough yards and get the ball in the end zone. He proved that he can catch the ball out of the flats and be a nice outlet for Jalen Hurts, which you need, especially for a quarterback, you know what I mean, that's developing. So I'm really anxious to see how Miles Sanders, takes the bull by the horns next year. And I just want to see what he does with it.
I agree. And so, we've been hearing these outlets, right? PFS, Pro Football Talk, whatever it is, and they're giving us a lot of praises. Us as Eagle fans, we're excited, but CBS on this latest outlet article, however you want to call it, claimed that the Philadelphia Eagles are the most improved team. It went number 1 Eagles, number 2 Chargers, number 3 Jets, 4 Steelers, and 5 for the Cincinnati Bengals. Me and LB talked backstage a little bit. The Bengals, man, they just went to the Super Bowl. How much more improved can you be? I mean, saying that your team got immensely better is one thing, but, if you're in the Super Bowl, you got immensely better, then you might as well pencil that in for another one. I don't understand that pick, but what is your take on just the Eagles, Chargers, Jets, Steelers in that order? Do you agree?
I agree. It's definitely Eagles number 1. I mean, we went to everybody knows we had no linebacking core. We had very minimal production out of the wide receiver core. We rectified those things. We kept our offensive line and defensive line intact. We bolstered up safety, you know what I mean, with Jaquaski Tart and stuff like that. So the Philadelphia Eagles got to be the most improved team on paper right now heading into the season. Number 2, the Chargers. What were the Chargers really missing? I mean, the Chargers, when you look at the efficiency of Herbert, nobody moves the ball like Justin Herbert. It's documented. It's been proven. So they didn't really need anything on the offensive side of the ball. Did they get better defensively? You know what I mean?
Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson, they were 2 big ones. That's kind of why they couldn't bring back Kaiser White. They wanted to, but the names they brought in via trade and signing, plus they are getting their safety back. Somebody in the chat let me know, but he's been a guy who they always say once and if he can stay on the field, he's going to, make a run for one of the best safeties in the game.
Is it Darwin or something like that?
Yeah. It's dang. How am I letting it slip my mind?
Nasir, is it Adley? It's one of them guys. I don't know.
It's in the chat normally they're a little bit behind themselves. With that being said, Khalil Mack and JC Jackson shoring up that secondary and that pass rush. Now you got Mack and Bosa, Derwin James. There we go.
Derwin James, yeah.
Shout out to Chris Smith. Shout out to everybody that's coming through with the Derwin James. One Trey Rock said it right as well, too. But you got Khalil Mack and Bosa, and then you get a guy like JC Jackson, who was the hottest corner on the market. I think James Bradbury was one of them, but everybody was coming for JC Jackson. Just not many people had the bread to pay him. He got it paid handsomely as a DB. But they're going to be a problem because part of the reason why they supposedly failed is their defense wasn't up to par down the stretch, and Herbert was losing shootouts. So they went ahead and fixed what they thought was the problem. And I do agree with them being on the list. And for the Jets,
I agree. I agree.
There's nowhere to go up.
Right. And that's where the list gets kind of tricky for me because you look at the Jets, you look at the moves they made. Obviously, they're taking into heavy consideration the draft that the Jets had. It was one of the best drafts, but you got to look at guys like Denver. I mean, they got Russell Wilson. You got to look at teams like Oakland, who landed Devontae Adams. Like, those are huge upgrades for those ball clubs, respectively. And I'm having a hard time seeing how the Jets are there, especially if they basing these improvements on rookies that we never saw play. So I think a couple of teams should be ahead of the Jets. But I'm so far on board with the Eagles and other Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, you can really say Denver really only got a quarterback, but the way teams value quarterback and what quarterback they got,
right.
You know, they're one of the teams that say they were like the Rams, a quarterback away. They got a defensive squad. They got weapons on the outside. They just need the quarterback, a la Los Angeles Rams. And if you go back, if you look at the season, you could say that the Rams had the best offer season because they went from a quarterback that needed to be coddled supposedly to a guy who just came in year one and got it done with the team around him. So as much as the NFL wants to praise quarterback play, that is a big upgrade. When you look at the Eagles, we upgraded in many, many situations. Right. And that's why, you know, PFF got us at the 7th best roster in the NFL and I believe 4th best roster in the NFC. What is your take on this? So according to Pro Football Focus, the Cowboys are the 2nd best roster in the NFC East, but they're number 16 compared to our 7. Do you think it's that drastic? Or do you think, you know, the media is going a little bit too much on us and a little bit too down on the Cowboys? Not saying they're better, but do you think they're doing a little bit too much on us and too down on the Cowboys, calling them 16th roster-wise?
No, they middle of the pack. They're a middle of the pack team. You lose Amari Cooper. You have 2 great seasons. I mean, you have 2 great seasons from a cornerback and a linebacker. That's very, very hard to duplicate, Mike. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah,
11 picks.
You heard the quote. Michael Parsons said, I think yesterday.
He's
bugging. Like, listen, me and Diggs, we about to get better.
How though? How does he think that? You know what I'm saying? But then you take a look at all the things that surround them now. Who's their 3rd wide receiver? Who is it over there in Dallas right now? You know what I mean? They have a bunch of wide receivers, in my opinion, right now on the roster who've never dealt with the pressure of being that guy. Now, CeeDee Lamb, I think, is capable. Michael Gallup never had to do it. I mean, Amari Cooper was the guy. So I think when you lose Amari Cooper in an offense that's very, very pass heavy, and they really, you know, depend on moving the ball and putting up points, I think that's going to rear its head later down the line in the stretch, especially when you're playing guys like us with 2 lockdown cornerbacks on the outside. So I think they middle of the pack, or if not middle of the pack, just above, because they do got continuity. They got a bunch of guys that stuck around, but they ain't better than us. I don't think the roster's better than us.
I agree from top to bottom. I don't think so either. Yeah. I probably put him a little bit lower than 16, but you're right. It was Amari Cooper, Lionel Collins, Randy Gregory. They lost KZ, however you call his name, and he actually had some low-key big plays throughout the season. He was one of them guys who was like unnamed superstars. I heard them talking about him, and I seen him, and he ends up leaving. And then they even lose their kicker, Greg Zuerlein. And although he had a rocky start, you know, he made some, and they're going to go with a undrafted rookie kicker. So he got an unproven leg, not saying he won't be good because everybody was a rookie and they became something or not. But you got an unproven leg. And we know the Cowboys we know that their games sometimes come down to a field goal or not, right?
Right.
Look how they lost in the playoffs. Look how they lost multiple games. And so having an unproven leg, what could be 3 games tilted your way could be 3 games tilted the opposite way. That's why kickers are important, especially when you're talking about, think about the best teams that even get to the playoffs and Super Bowl. They got kickers that can get it done, where your offense says, listen, get me 10 yards past the 50 and I'm gonna knock it down.
Right. And not to mention the fact about the Cowboys, a lot of people not paying attention to, they didn't make any moves in free agency. They actually got the money to do it, but they didn't spend any money. So they didn't get better. They actually got worse. So, I think 16 is good. You got them lower than 16?
Yeah, I would say they're outside of top 10 for sure. I wouldn't say much. I would say like 14, only because I'm a big believer in CeeDee Lamb, and I'm always going to hate that pick because it broke me live on camera. Like, you can still go back and see. And I do think Dak Prescott is capable. That's why, again, previous year I had him slightly inside the top 10, but after last season and seeing what probably was the best roster Dallas had, and him not being able to get them over at least that one playoff hump, that's what made me and you both have him at 11. He dropped out for me.
Right.
He's still capable, but they got a lot of guys who are their cores, but now they're going to be asked to do different things, as you said. Guys who were number 2 and 3 step to 1 and 2. Guys coming in the offensive line to now play alongside some older guys that are good. But I mean, there's going to a lot of makeshift thing work type stuff the Cowboys got to go through early in the season.
A lot of pressure on Tolbert too, because is Gallup even going to be available the first 4 weeks of this season? Is he going to be 100% when he comes back? Does he have to knock off some rust? A lot of pressure on Dak Prescott. A lot of pressure. So we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah, and they got the rookie. I forgot that Tolbert guy out of Alabama. He's like, yeah, we're gonna change the culture. So you got a young guy who really don't got nothing on a guy like CeeDee Lamb talking about he's gonna come in and change the culture. That's interesting to say the least. That culture's been bad for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree though. When you look at what the Eagles did this offseason to improve, and that's why Howie Roseman is on the thumbnail. And I also want to talk to you. It's Eagle related, but I tweeted this as soon as it happened. Well, I first was shocked that, although I don't think Baker Mayfield's good, I think the first year with his new coach, I forgot the name. It was the ex Vikings coordinator.
Kitchens. Was it Kitchens?
No, that's when he was really bad. It was the Vikings coordinator. Somebody in the chat will let me know. I can't believe I'm off these names like that today. But he was good. He had a 95, passer rating. He was like 20 something and 8, threw for 3,000 something yards. He was decent when they managed it and ran and all that. Last year was just, there was some injury problems, but to go for a conditional 5th round pick, not even this year, next year, 2 years down, that's crazy. And that's where it goes to show if Howie Roseman was in control of that situation, we'd be walking away with a 2nd round pick, something along
at least
them
a
lines.
third. At least a third.
Yes. Yeah. There was no way. Again, the Carolina Panthers for Sam Darnold, who drafted one spot behind Baker Mayfield, didn't have a better career thus far. I'm not saying Baker's career was good, but compared to Darnold's, it was better. And the Jets walked away. Guess who their GM was? Joe Douglas, another guy who learned under Howie Roseman. Well, check this out. Howie Roseman taught Joe Douglas, and he gets off Darnold for a 6th round pick that year, and the following year, which was this draft, a 2nd and a 4th. That's why the Jets are on CBS as most improved, because they had a lot of draft capital. They got Sauce Gardner. They got this, that, and the third, right? But again, Howie Roseman disciple, able to get Darnold off for 3 picks, a 6th, a 2nd, and a 4th. And whoever the guy for the Cleveland Browns can only do a conditional 5th.
I think the Cleveland Browns, but we're very spoiled. But I'm not really too mad at the Browns for what they got for it, because you got Deshaun Watson. You got to get this guy out of here. You know what I mean? And I think that they ultimately end up splitting the money that was owed to them between the Panthers and the Browns. So I kind of get it. You know what I mean? You're just ready to move on, and you're ready to close that chapter. But Howie Roseman ain't doing that. Howie Roseman
get rid of Carson.
Right. Exactly.
It was reported.
Exactly. Howie Roseman is going to let you play it out until you can't play no more before you let a what was Baker #1 overall guy?
#1 overall.
Right, before you let a #1 overall guy walk out of the door. Howie Roseman values those first round picks way too much, as we all know. Howie Roseman would have put Baker. You know, Baker has been one of those quarterbacks that the team tried to put a team around. You know, you had Jarvis Landry, you had Odell Beckham, you had that running game out of there. So Stefanski, that was his name. So you know what I mean. You had the running game, you had Myles Garrett. Baker Mayfield had a team that a quarterback like Deshaun Watson will be able to do damage with. I just don't think Baker is that good of a quarterback. And you know, if I'm going to swap quarterbacks for Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, I mean, I'm gonna just keep Sam Darnold.
Nah, look, I'm gonna give Baker a try at this point. Again, I always thought that he was a guy who will make a good player too, but he's along the lines of a game manager. You know, if I had to rank him, and we didn't rank him because we didn't think he was starting, I would have had him middle 20s. Like 21 to 23, 20 to 23. Again, like I said, I think Baker Mayfield proved that. It was a really, really good roster, and he going to a team that is kind of messy right now. So we'll see what he's able to do with this opportunity, and let's just see if he beats out Sam Darnold. Again, we're not talking about him beating out a guy. Where do we have Sam Darnold? He was low on our totem pole too.
Right.
But
when we finalize the list, we might got to add Baker now.
We might
to the top 32. We got to switch that up. So we'll see.
Yeah. And like I said, he'll be in the later 20s for me. But at the end of the day, just knowing that the Browns just gave up with a 5th, and we've seen what Howie could do, and even his disciples, you just got to love it. And that's why we're one of the most improved teams, because what he was able to put together this offseason.
Do you forgive Howie?
I forgave. Listen, it might come back to bite me, right? And again, to me, it's a what have you done for me lately type league. Again, I understand the bad picks, but you could really go around. Every GM makes bad ones, but some make bad ones and don't make great ones. He's made pretty darn good picks and moves the last 2 years, and it's a forward thinking, right? You can't say, well, this guy was a Pro Bowler in 2019, so he's automatically going to be one in 2022. No, them years are gone. He might, but he might not. So I got to think of what has been done in this new regime. 2 years, Nick Sirianni. The only thing that's the same is the management, and he changed. He's nailed 2 drafts so far. We have to see again how this one plays out, but on paper, it looks like something that the Eagle fans and analysts say he's done terrific. And so I'm on and Howie we trust.
And honestly, for me, man, passing up on Justin Jefferson in the manner that we did, it really don't hurt me that much now that you got Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. It don't hurt that much to me, because if you would have drafted Justin Jefferson, you probably wouldn't have drafted Devontae Smith. You know what I mean? You would probably just still have one great wide receiver out of the deal. But Howie Roseman always finds a way to to clean it up and to make himself look like a genius. So much respect to Howie on that one, man. So I'm with you on that one. I forgave him as well.
Yeah, because like we said, part of the reason why we didn't forgive him is because we're talking about DK and Justin Jefferson, and we had Rager and Greg Ward Jr. But now, a couple years after hearing that, he done fixed the problem. We're talking about AJ Brown, who's pick who's better, DK, AJ Brown. You could probably make points for both. And yes, Justin Jefferson had a better rookie season, but again, he was in a perfect system. Not saying we can't do it over here. We're going to see. I think this year's going to be different game planning and all that. But Devontae Smith goes to a Kirk Cousins guy who throws for 4,200 yards. He might be doing the same thing. So yes, Justin Jefferson has a better rookie season, but they're cut from the same cloth. They're winners. They're ballers. And we got 2 ballers on our squad, so I ain't mad at it.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, man. Training camp is coming up, though. You know what I mean? So the safety position was a big, cause of concern for a lot of Philadelphia Eagles fans, a lot of people in the media as well. Do you think we properly addressed it with bringing in Jaquiski Tartt?
Yeah, I love the sign, and I think it's just, again, that's not me being down on Marcus Epps. I'm actually high on him. I think that once the season started, starts, you can see a scenario where it's Epps and Tart. Because you're really not tied to Anthony Harris as much as people think too. We brought him back for a 1-year deal. That could be a depth piece as well. He was one of our best guys, better guys prior to the signing, but I think Tart and Harris are similar. I just think that Tart has been put in more tough situations. I think he's the better hitter, a guy who can fly a little bit more. He was the one who caught Quez Watkins on that 91-yard pass from Jalen Hurts to Quez Watkins. All that being said, I think you got 3 players that, with the guys that we have up front and the new linebackers in the front 7, that are definitely serviceable and even a little bit better, because I am low-key thinking and believing that Marcus Epps is not going to be, I'm not saying he's going to be a Pro Bowler, but he's going to shock a lot of people. Every single opportunity that was given to him, he showed something that made me say, hey, we should keep him on the field a little bit more. But, respecting Ronnie McLeod and Anthony Harris making the money last year, they did what they did at them being the veterans. But that's not the case now. So Marcus Epps, I think, will get a more than fair shot. And he just has the mindset and the attitude to run with it. And I think he will. So I think it's him. And I think Harris and Tart, both on 1-year deals. We're not tied to either of them are fighting to see who actually going to get that playing time. I just think that that's what it's going to come down to after training camp.
I can see Epps getting extended, like by week 7 or something. Howie just extending him. Howie has a weird way of, catching a guy while he's playing good and getting them to accept less money. You know what I mean? If you sign a guy week 7, you know what I mean? What if he balls out for the rest of the 7 weeks? Now you got to make a bigger decision at the end of the season. So how he catches these guys at these sweet spots and you get these favorable contracts, kind of like how Jordan Mailata's contract is being reported as one of the best favorable contracts. And it's probably the best contract in the National Football League. Howie Roseman caught him at a really, really good time. You know what I mean? And if he didn't catch him then, it would have cost him a lot more money at the end of next season based upon the resume that he's building. So Howie Roseman is smart. I think he's going to figure it out. I think Epps would be the smarter decision in terms of a guy that you want to sign and keep around. I'm not so sure what's going to happen with Kayvon Wallace, though, man. I kind of fear for the kid, man. He could be on the outside looking in.
Yeah, he definitely can. Again, the Eagles gave him opportunities. It was his health that took him out of it, but that was the other coaching staff. Now, they did give him the nod early this season, too, when he got hurt, too. So, let's see what they really think of him. It could be a 4-man competition because no one really has proved anything to the Eagles. We know what Jaquiski Tart was and what Harris was, but they are beyond that, best play of their life type skill set, but they still bring something to the table. So we'll see where all that goes. But to tie it all up, we will be getting we will be accepting call-ins, so we will be dropping the link in a little bit. But I wanted to say something about the whole thing, and it totally slipped my mind.
About the safeties?
Well, no. Even the car again, like you said, Howie Roseman will throw it out there and take a chance if he sees how the market's going and he thinks he knows what that player is. And as Jordan Mailata, it was a solid hit because we got him locked up for a long time at a really great price, especially if he starts making Pro Bowls. However, let's go back to that Carson Wentz deal, right? It was coming off the him taking practice squads to the playoffs, right? We did not see well, I don't know if it was right after that or right after the Jadeveon Clowney hit. All that being said, he looked at the quarterback market and what it was about to be. And he looked at Carson Wentz and he remembered the 2017 season and he saw this where it wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. He gave him that deal. Now, again, when you look at what quarterbacks are being paid now, it was a great deal. The thing that was missed is he misjudged the player, but Howie's always going to take that first punch if he believes in that type of player. And sometimes you might miss a little bit, but I think Howie on contracts hits more.
He actually locked Carson up a little earlier than that. He locked him up right after 2017 while he was still rehabbing. That's why everybody thought it was nuts. Remember, it was right after 2017.
I thought it was right after the 2019, the one when he got us to the playoffs with the practice squad when we beat the Dallas Cowboys. I could have sworn. Chat.
Was it that one? Let us know. Yeah, I thought it was right after 17. Right after Nick won it. Then he locked Carson up. While he was still rehabbing.
I think because that's why we were debating bringing Nick back, because we still had Carson on a rookie deal, but we were going to have to pay Nick like almost 20 mil, and it was like you can't have a backup at 20 mil. So I really do believe it. We'll see what the chat says, but I think it was after the 19th season. And again, we saw that Carson Wentz struggled that season, but he also came through and won 4 straight games for us and took practice squad players. So, it would have been smart if Carson Wentz ever got back to 2017 Carson. That would have been a legit contract for that amount of money. When you look at the $40 million being paid to Dak and being paid to these other guys, it was 2018 season. Wait, after 2018, Nick went to the Jags. First Eagles YouTuber video I watched. So no one's really saying. Philly Jackson said, yeah, right after that. Oh, here it is. Stu Vision. After the 18-19 season.
After the 18-19 season?
So, yeah, when he took the practice squad players.
Somebody said after the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. All right, now I got to look. All right.
Right, I'm telling you, Mike, I think it was after the Super Bowl. I remember because everybody was like, we're nuts for signing this guy. It was right after he got the MVP consideration. Right after he got the MVP consideration, we locked him up.
All right, we're going to have to look. But we
got to look that one up.
Let's drop the
because I was a huge Carson Wentz fan. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's a cheap deal. He gonna be all right. He gonna bounce back, but he was never the same.
Yeah, he wasn't. So, like I said, though, at the end of the day, how he saw the market, and did what he had to do, it was perfect. We just he did get hurt again after the Super Bowl, but Ref Taco just said 2019 was practice squad. 2019-2020 season was the practice squad player. 2018-19 was double doink year. But ain't nobody trying to tell us what season. I got to go look back when he got paid. But let's drop the link in the chat.
Facts.
We're going to pin it. If I can find my link now. We're going to pin the link in the chat. Call in. Talk to Philly Mike LB. And let's see what we got.
We'll pin the link in the chat as well real quick. Let me see.
Replace pin. Yeah, give us a call. Let us know. Not a call, but click the link. Come through.
How do you pin it though? It's the weirdest.
You got to click like on your logo. And shout out to my guy Sean Jenkins. What's going on with you? Been a channel member for 3 months. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support.
It's pinned. It's definitely pinned. Tap in.
Come through. And now I got to look this up before my phone dies.
Right.
I'm actually going to charge it real quick. We got the first one in here. Joseph Hudson. What's going on with you, my guy?
Yo, what's good, man?
Hey, we chilling.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, look. What's good, man? I'm glad y'all got me in, man. But listen, there's a lot of talk, man. I hear a lot of talk about Jalen Hurts and people saying that, Jalen is, not the kind of QB that he needs to be. And I think a lot of people forget, man, that Jalen really, really has gotten better. Like every year he's played ball. Like from the year that boy left Alabama to when he went to Oklahoma, the boy, people forget this man was runner-up for the Heisman. If it hadn't been for my man at LSU having like a phenomenal, crazy season, Jalen would have won that Heisman. Then he comes to the NFL, he gets thrown into a train wreck, for 4 games at the end of the season, gets better the next season, and going into this, I'm telling you, going into this season, I really think this guy is going to really excel and show some people his real character and his skill set. So I can't wait for him to make these haters like eat their words, man. For real. Hey, thanks for what y'all do, man. Love y'all, man.
I appreciate you, dog. But you're right. He got to put it on the field though. He got to shut him up. You know what I mean? That's the bottom line. You know what I mean? I think he's well capable of doing it, but it got to be done. You know what I mean? So it got to be done.
Yeah. I agree 100%. Stu Vision in the building. What's up with you, Stu? What's up with the internet, Stu? It's all good. We get you back when you get right. We got BLSG in the building. What's up, BLSG?
What's good, gentlemen? How we doing tonight? Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
There we go.
So, real quick, your take on just the Eagles getting a lot of love this offseason for what they did and what they think is going to be done on the field.
I mean, let's just start out through OTAs, all right? Jalen Hurts, he's improving. He's gotten better on the accuracy. He's gotten better at reading defenses. He's gotten better at what to do in terms of reading his receivers' routes. He's gotten better, but yet again, where do we need to see it? We need to see it on the actual football field. And this goes the same way to every other player too. Miles Sanders, which I'm going to get to Miles Sanders in a little bit. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, and you know where I'm going to go with Miles Sanders. You know where I'm going to go with him. Dallas Goedert, the offensive line, the defensive line, every position. Even though you addressed something in OTAs and you showed us something, I have to see it on the football field. Next, Miles Sanders, shut the F up. Seriously. Like, you're saying, you're literally out here, literally saying that the Eagles are going to be an all-star caliber team. Like, shut your damn mouth and come back talking to me when you can stay healthy for 17 games on the football field. You literally make AJ Brown come out here and saying that you have to shut the F up. Like,
hey,
calm down.
This, though. Hey, BLSG. Again, he said we and that's speaking for the team too, but we feel like an all-star team. He ain't come out here and say again, when you hear the word all-star, I think every other word that was said, even in the written part, goes out the window. And also, it wasn't reported that he also said that we feel like an all-star team, but as any good team, you got to put it together on the field.
Facts.
And blah, blah, blah. But you got to think that all-star team wasn't the main thing he said. We feel right now, I feel like this is one of the best shows. That don't mean it's the best show.
Right.
I feel like it though, and so I think it was a little blown out of proportion because of Dream Team and then the big failure. But let's go back and look at that real quick. We put an offensive lineman as a DC. We got guys who didn't play together, and we're doing it so little that we're doing all the talking. We didn't have the guys who were here doing the talking, and I can respect that. Now, like if Zach Pascal comes in here, right? A guy who was an addition, but he might not be a starter, and he's talking. It's different. Like Vince Young, he got to be quiet because he's not even playing. He's putting expectation on the people that's not playing. Miles Sanders is going to be a big part of the game plan when he's healthy.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, honestly. But still, though, at the end of the day, Miles Sanders, shut up until you can play all 16 games on the football field.
BLSG, let me ask you a question real quick. Even though you got the proper context, even though you got the entire statement where Miles Sanders said at the end of it, we got to put it together on a football field, you still want him to shut up.
Yeah, I need to.
I respect that.
Here's the thing. I need Miles Sanders to shut up until I can see him play all 16 games or 17 games rather on the football field. I need to see him healthy for a whole season.
Hey, BLG, we got some other people. I want this last take from you. Will Miles Sanders do what he needs to do to be an Eagle after this year before we get you out of here?
I mean, it could be close, but I feel like we might be turning to Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, he could have a big year this year. I'm not going to lie to you. He had 5 touchdowns, I believe, last year in his rookie year. He can build upon that. I mean, this is a 5th round pick out of Memphis that at this point you can't really be sleeping on because 5 home runs for 5 home runs. Why am I referring to baseball at this point? But 5 touchdowns for a rookie running back, especially a 5th rounder, is something that this man can really build off of. And I think this is honestly his best opportunity to make something happen. So but Mike and LB, appreciate you guys for helping me on though. I gotta get my live stream together for the Sixers Summer League game tonight against the Jazz, and let's hope we kick these guys' butts.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir. Peace. All right. So let's see if Stu Vision, my man, just been on ghost mode. All right, we got Bird Gang 31, all green tinted.
Bird Gang, what up?
What's up, guys?
What's up with you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. It's always great when we talk Eagles football.
Let's start this off, though, because I know you are a Miles supporter. So let's start this off. Is he going to be able to back up his words and be here next year? Let's start it right there at that same conversation.
Well, what is he backing up? Like the man said, he's been hanging out with these guys, going to practice with these guys. They feel like they're all-star team. There ain't nothing to back up. It's not coming out saying dream team. It's said they feel like they're a bunch of all-stars. If you look at the roster, you got a lot of all-star players. You know, you got a lot of all-star players on the offense and the defensive side. So it's not nothing that shouldn't be said. I don't have no ill will, with him saying it. I agree with him. I see an all-star team. Y'all already know how hype I get.
But look, this and this
I've
my
been
thing.
telling people this all season that this team right here is special. This is going to be a huge year for Philadelphia.
And see, takes like this, like what BG just said, makes me think like, why? What is AJ Brown? Just chill. It's like so. All AJ Brown had. Look, this is the type of guy I am. My man said what he said. We feel like we going. That's how I am.
Yeah.
Like, don't come out here and say, oh, he excited. Like I don't have a problem with what he said, but you got to do that differently if you AJ Brown, because like you just said, Mike, you're an addition. Miles been here. Miles know the temperament of this city. You know what I mean? You're an addition as well. AJ, you might be one of the biggest acquisitions, but my whole thing is like, we don't need you to extinguish a fire that ain't really a fire. You know what I mean? I think it just made it worse in a sense. So I kind of agree.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I watched your video when you did that, and I was like, straight up, man. AJ didn't. I feel like he stepped out of line. You know what I'm saying? Because you should be supporting. Like I tell Eagles fan, they see all the moves that we done made this offseason. They're still like, I want to see it on the field. These guys never played together. And what about the chemistry? Man, teams, it ain't that big. If you a starter in the NFL, it's plug and play, my guy. It's not all this. You need months and months of chemistry. Look at the Rams last year. They picked up Odell, Von Miller and all those guys mid-season. They won a Super Bowl. Like
and
Tampa Bay,
and a new quarterback.
they picked up guys all the time. They picked up all those guys they had in the offseason. They won a Super Bowl. Like, why can't it be the Eagles? Why is it when we finally get a team that is bona fide legit, we're never paper champs. We're always known for being the street fighters, that stick up there.
Underdogs.
Underdogs that fight our way to the playoffs and do what we do. We're finally paper champs. That's how I feel about it. We're finally paper champs. We do have the legit roster. Yeah, we do have the talent. Forget that dream team. That was a backup quarterback that said that. Okay, that dude, I didn't think we were a dream team that year that we picked him up just because we picked up the players we got. So I really feel like this roster is damn near complete. I know people want to talk about getting another running back or,
I think it's complete. I think
it's done. Like
I think if you're going to add something else, give me another edge rusher. Just give me some more guys that can get to the opposing quarterback. I think everything else is good.
Yeah, I can't see any flaws. I hate it because like we all came to the end of the season. We're like, what areas do we need to improve in to be legit? We seen that playoff game. We realized that we were happy that we were in the playoffs, but our team was not capable of doing anything in the playoffs compared to the other teams, the other rosters out there. And we made a list. Everybody made their list, and throughout the offseason, that list has been getting completed to now we're done. Now that we're done, it's like people still want to try to find something to talk about. Like, there ain't no more to do, Let these guys go out there work.
We got to go play.
Offseason.
The biggest part is coming up next. And shout out to Joseph Hudson.
Hey,
he be listening to that fireness.
Thank you, Joseph. I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, he said music is fire. Listen, if you haven't heard any of LB's track, you got to start with 17 Birds.
Right?
That might be replicated.
Yeah.
BG will tell you that. But real quick, here's my whole thing. And I agree. The Rams plug and play, Stafford, Von Miller, and Odell Beckham.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that doesn't always mean it's always going to work. I think that the core of that team was there, and McVay is really, really good. But listen, I think we got with the players at the right spots that are more plug and play. You're not messing with your center, right? Who got to make all the calls at the offensive line. You're not messing with your key guys are still there. The same guys that got us to the playoffs are still there, and we added players and positions that we needed upgrade, but we still got Slay in the backfield. You got Maddox. You added one piece, but it's not like now it'd be more worrisome if the whole secondary was mixed match, because now it's called, certain we've seen already in Eagles games when we do have a new secondary where it's a blown coverage and you're like, dang, Steven Nelson didn't know. And again, last year, Steven Nelson and Anthony Harris, both new additions. They had to play where they're supposed to help each other out, and that gets mixed up because of them both being new additions. But I think we kept so many guys on crucial spots that it's not going to be as big of a deal. So I agree that I do like what you said real quick though, because we always come to the season with, not that really big name receivers that we got to hype up or something that's not been proven, players that are not like legit dogs, like guys who didn't have 23.5 sacks the last 2 years and this, that, and the third. And now we got a squad that we can say, look, it's all lining up in the offseason. Now we got to go be as hungry as the old Eagles were. All the Eagles team that come into the season not as the favorites, who still win the division, if we keep that same mindset with the favorite type talk analogy, I think we'll be all right. But it starts from the top to the bottom, and that's the head coach continue to put pressure, the quarterback leading the way, and then everybody else balling.
Right. Last year we were excited about Eric Wilson. He didn't even make it through the whole season.
Right.
Yeah. We always excited about the only player in NFL with 1 interception. I was excited. He had me fooled. Now you got Hassan Reddick, a legitimate bona fide stud who got the single game sack record for the Cardinals, 5 sacks in the game. We got dudes who are part of a history now. James Bradbury. I don't know when in the hell the world start thinking James Bradbury was chopped liver. You know what I mean? I don't know when. I guess when you put on the midnight plane, that's what happened. You know what I mean?
Well, he was with the Giants, so they try to downplay his play because he was surrounded by a bunch of trash.
But you really can't downplay it though, Mike, because he forced a lot of incompletions, the most in the NFL the last 2 years.
Yeah, and that's my whole thing. I put that same video out. The 2 years that everybody said he started playing worse, he's still top 5 for forced incompletion and interceptions. On it, that's not talking about his Pro Bowl 2019 season. That's solely talking about his 2 horrible seasons with the G-men. He's still top 5 in categories you want him to be as a DB. So I ain't mad at it at all. But listen, we got a lot of people back here. BG, we gonna work.
Heck yeah, I definitely need to get them work, man. You definitely gotta get that word again. But hey, thanks for having me on. You guys have a great rest of your night, and fly Eagles fly.
Yes, sir. That big ass ring on too. I see you, BG.
Right. He keeps it close to the vest. All right, yo, be easy.
Hey.
We got a lot of people in the back now. We got our guy S coming through. What's going on with you, S?
Yo, it's your boy Stu Vision back with y'all, man. I had to switch over to my laptop. My phone was acting stupid on me.
I ain't mad. He said I want to go so quick. I'm not even gonna finish my name out. We gonna call me S. But go, what's up, Stu?
Yeah.
How you feel? You want to go off the last topic, kind of?
We can go off for all of it because y'all discussed quite a bit that I like talking about, like the whole Miles Sanders comment. Like, it was so crazy because I watched the interview. It was a John Clark interview that he did, and I heard the whole comment. So when it first came out on the media, and I'm like, wait a minute, y'all just cut half of what the hell he said. And put it out there as he basically said, oh, it's an all-star team. Wait a minute, that ain't what he said. Y'all ain't gonna cut out, y'all ain't gonna put what he said and just take that little small snippet. And then on top of the fact, you're not adding context because you didn't even add the fact that he was answering a question that was asking him, how do you feel about with all the bringing in AJ Brown alongside you, Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert? He said, well, we basically feel like an all-star team. We feel like that. You can feel any damn way you want to. Hell, right about now, I feel like I want to light this blunt while we still talking right now. But I'm going to wait till I go back in the room with the wife and we going to blaze that. But you know what I'm saying? You can feel any way you want. You know what I mean? You can feel any way you want. It's about, and like he said, it come down to camp. We got to get on the field one day at a time and put it together. I don't see why everybody went like you, like LB, me and you, bless you, by the way, bro. But me and you the same type of team. We the same type of teammate. My man said what he said.
Yeah, right. That's how I feel.
Like
that's how I feel. I just sent the whole quote to you, Mike, in case you want to throw it up there. Because a lot of people really don't know the whole quote.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. AJ Brown, he came and he kind of smoothed over what he said. But AJ Brown basically said the same exact thing. So I don't understand why everybody, AJ saved the shit. AJ ain't saved nothing. He said the same
and this
thing.
The thing, though.
It up.
Well, LB, instead of me I got an email to my, but just read it.
Okay, I'll read it. So this the thing, though. Being as though AJ Brown came out and answered it, it makes me believe that the media manipulation worked on him too. I don't even think he's seen the whole quote or the interview. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he got caught up in it too.
Exactly.
But the thing about it is he gonna have to get real quick used to this Philly media real quick. Because they don't realize that the Philly media is completely different. They'll spin any narrative 50 times before you can get one thought about it. So
they'll use you. They'll definitely use you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but this
definitely.
was the question. This was the question that was asked to Miles real quick. It says, how different does it feel preparing for the season now that A.J. Brown is an Eagle alongside you, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and the rest of the offense? Now, this is Sanders' response. Sanders, and I quote, "Oh man, we all feel like we're on the all-star team. So we feel great. We feel unstoppable. I'm not going to lie. The vibes are great, always have been. Nick Sirianni is doing a great job just keeping up the vibes right now. The chemistry is good. We compete a lot in practice, but this is the meat and potatoes they left out. But we've got to see. It's got to come down to camp, taking it one day at a time, putting everything together." That was the most important part of the quote. And, it is what it is, man.
Whole quote.
I agree. And now,
like I even
again,
watched them on NFL Live today. They try to put up they try to put up most of it, but then that last part where he said it all comes to camp, and we got to get together in camp and put it together, get the chemistry right, and put it together on the field. They cut that part out, and it was like, wait a minute, how y'all gonna sit there? Y'all gonna put most of it, but then really cut out the meat and potatoes of the comment. Y'all y'all doing it wrong, and then y'all ain't even telling. He was asked a question. They ain't gonna tell that part. He was asked the question. If you ain't gonna tell that, you're not giving context to what was said. So therefore, anything gonna get spun.
And in all fairness, I'm not gonna act like I saw the whole quote either. I didn't see it until it was posted on Twitter. But my response was still the same. I'm cool with what he said because
my man said what he said.
He said we feel like an all-star team. And when you look at it,
he said we.
Right. And then then when you look around the building, it's a lot of Pro Bowlers. So we should feel like an all-star team. So I had no problem with it.
Yeah.
And even at the quarterback position, we got a Pro Bowl alternate.
Right.
So, I mean, basically, he wasn't lying about it.
Yeah. And I'll say this. Again, we want to look at what A.J. Brown quote tweeted via the NFL. So they tagged it saying they vibing in Philadelphia 100, right? Mm-hmm. And then he said, the quote, "We feel like we're an all-star team, so we feel great. We feel unstoppable. I'm not going to lie. The vibes are great, always have been." And that was it. They left out the big part that said, but we got to put it together. Again, you got to understand, though, when someone's talking too, and some people are training the media. And again, I want him to feel like an all-star. I'm tired of having goody two-shoes, right? So I wasn't mad. I defended Miles Sanders. But again, here's the thing. So in this quote, it doesn't show that he said that, or the question was asked about A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, right? So I think A.J. Brown feeling maybe he did do his work, and he said, well, part of the reason why he's calling us an all-star team is because my name was the first one thrown there as a question. And so I want to go out there and say my piece on it. And again,
that makes sense.
I think it was cool when he said he's excited about what this team could be. We all are. And again, so we all established that Miles Sanders said we, not I. So he's throwing them in there. And the question wasn't saying
he's throwing everybody in it.
Do you feel like the team with all the new additions is blah, blah, blah? He said, with, as you read it, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and you. You know what I mean? So I think, but again, he just said,
and they still got to account for the quarterback being an offensive threat as well.
Yeah. And so again, just because it's been retracted, you can say, well, right there, it's done. And I agree. You got guys who will ride for him just like as LB and Stuvich would. But again, the exact words A.J. Brown said is, he's excited about what this team could be. We all are excited, but we're not an all-star team. We definitely could be with years to come. We got to strap up and put our pads on and go do it on the gridiron, all that stuff. That's the, leadership version.
Right.
That's not like Jalen Hurts would say.
Right. Right,
as
but
you
was absolutely right. He's not. You're right. He is not the type of teammate like me and LB, because I believe me and LB gonna say it exactly the way LB said. Hey, my man said what he said.
Yeah, I mean,
that's exactly how. That's how I'm gonna say it. Hey, my man said what he said.
But see, this is where I kind of got confused though with the whole statement. It's like, until you just broke it down for me, Mike, I'm like, what prompted A.J. Brown to even respond to that? Because his name was thrown into the initial mix. So I kind of understand why he responded to the tweet. Because I'm like, what you doing on Twitter? Even what are you talking about right now? What do you now? It makes a little more sense. But the proper response for me to show camaraderie and to show that we going to war together is, listen, my man said what he said. You know what I mean? We all feel good. It is what it is. But we all know it got to be put together on the field. So I guess it works either way.
Yeah, and I'm just going to tie it up like this, in the sense of it was the NFL that tweeted that out and did it, so it was more easier for
It's always that media
what's his
spin. They're
name?
gonna throw it out there.
AJ Brown.
AJ will get
It wasn't so.
It'll be easier for him to notice it when NFL Network to NFL people tweet it.
Correct, which is good because he's not listening to the regular Philly media. He's listening to NFL, and the caption was they vibing. So the NFL was giving us props like we believe they are. We gonna let them know that we also believe, and that's how all the outlets have been training us.
Right.
But I can just say this to really end that part of it in my terms is I'm okay with Miles Sanders what he said. I just think that AJ Brown also being BFFs with Jalen Hurts, the ultimate pressure is gonna fall on the quarterback. If other people start co-signing the all-star thing and then it gets taken to another level and you start out 1-3, Phillies all the things are going to be not written about AJ Brown. It's not going to be written about Miles Sanders. The first person who's going to get the bulk of the problem is going to be Coach DC and or Jalen Hurts.
Right. I think it's more pressure on AJ Brown than a lot of people want to realize. He did just get $100 million.
Yeah, he got
to make sure he's getting open.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If Jalen Hurts is missing AJ Brown, he better be missing a wide open AJ Brown.
And if he ain't getting open, you getting $100 million, you getting $25 million a year, bro. You better catch 80% of those 50-50 balls.
You know what I'm saying?
You be getting paid that kind of bread. You got to do that. You got to show improve every time that ball come your way. You can miss a few of them, but you better not miss many of them. Not for that kind of bread.
Hey, I agree, but listen, we got some other guys. Hey, I appreciate you, Stu Vision. You rocking with that?
Yeah.
Hey,
one more addition to one more thing I want to say, and I know everybody gonna flip out about this because nobody's gonna see it the way I see it. The only thing I think we should add Kaepernick as a backup quarterback. They got the same skill set as Jalen Hurts. You ain't got to change the offense if you go down.
I ain't mad at that.
I'll always been wanting to
that. I appreciate you.
Hey,
all right, Stu.
All right, y'all. Holla. All right, guys. Leave later.
All right. We got Paul Mancini in the building. What's up? He in the dark.
Hey guys, I'm out here on the porch. Sunlight.
You got some food on the grill. What's going on, Paul?
Hey, a couple things. Congrats, you guys have been doing a great job, and LB with the national show, and Mike. I hope you get on there soon because I think you deserve a space and time on there as well. A couple things I wanted to mention real quick. First thing, you know how I keep up on contracts and salary cap and all that kind of stuff, Mike. A player in the NFL is not eligible for any extension until 3 years of service is completed. Wentz is, getting back to the Wentz thing from earlier, was after the 2018 season that he got that extension, which was to take effect in 2019. But that's for any player. Like Jalen Hurts right now is in year 3, starting year 3. They cannot talk to him until the season is over about an extension, not beforehand. I'm not saying they don't talk, but nothing could be announced until after year 3. That's for any player, regardless of what round they're drafted. So some people confuse like a 5-year option with a contract extension, and it's 2 different things. So that was just one thing I wanted to kind of mention.
So you're saying they can't even do it in the middle of the 3rd season?
They could talk about you could talk about it, but it's not official until after year 3.
Got you.
You can't follow it with the NFL office until 3 years are completed.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but a couple things that I'm like every other Eagles fan, super excited about the team. I don't put much water under the Sanders comment. I know how the media always, they're looking for stories on play stuff. When you look at his message in totality, he's pumped, and you got to like that as a fan. It's a big year for him, obviously, because he is in his 4th year. So he is a guy that could get an extension during this season. If he and the team, feel good about it. But a couple things when you look around the landscape, I noticed a lot of scuttlebutt about trading Minshew. Here's the thing I have about that. Number one, he's probably the cheapest backup with the most experience. He started about 35 games,
Yeah.
and they're paying him like $1.2 million or something. You're not going to find that kind of guy that's not 35 years old anywhere, and not in the summer. So my question to a lot of fans is like, yeah, let's get Minshew. Maybe the Browns are desperate now and want Minshew, and you get a, I don't know, 3rd round pick or even a 2nd round pick. Number one, what happens if Hurts twists an ankle and is out for 3 or 4 games? The Eagles are built to win and compete right now in 2022. If you don't have a competent, experienced backup, the season's over. And
Depends how many games he misses.
They're not going to do that. And then the second thing is that you get back to the money. Let's say if you do trade Minshew to Seattle or Cleveland or whoever, who you getting off the streets? There isn't a Joe Flacco out there this year that can come in, learn a system, and win you some games. Now, maybe there will be come late summer when some guys get cut, but that's the reality of the cap situation. The Eagles don't have a whole lot of cap right now. They're about $4 or $5 million. So, but one trade scenario that I've mentioned a few times and get beat up pretty bad about. The one major piece I think the team needs is another edge rusher, even if it's an older rotational Chris Long type of guy. I think we all can agree that Barnett's probably not that guy. I look at a team and a player who's highly paid, who's in the twilight of his career, but the guy can still get after the quarterback, and that's on Robert Quinn on the Bears.
Right.
Now, the Bears have one of the worst offensive lines and have no quality starting left tackle on their roster as of today.
You're trying to get rid of Dillard.
I'm looking at Dillard, and here's my surprise. Javon Hargrave. And this is why I say this. You got $14 million in Cox this year. You got $13.5 million in Hargrave this year. That's $27 million for 2 older DTs. Hargrave will be 30 this year. And when I look at the depth of this team defensively, and you look at Jordan Davis, you look at Milton Williams, the high on that Marlon Tuilapa, you got Chris Wilson, you got Robert Wren. You have some interior guys, and I'm thinking a little bit more down the road. But if you're not going to sign Hargrave to an extension, which is very possible.
Could be this year.
But if you don't do that and you let him walk, go in free agency, because he will command $13 to $15 to $16 million a year easily on the open market. If you sign him, when are you going to get Milton Williams and Jordan Davis on the field? You're going to stunt their development. And again, I'm not talking about necessarily 2022. I'm talking 2023, 2024. Mm-hmm. Milton Williams and Jordan Davis got to be starters, I think, by next year. And again,
yeah, but we rotate our D tackles.
Who will be 70 snaps a game because no teams do that. But the way with Cox and Hargrave, these guys will only see 15, 20 snaps a game. And for Jordan Davis being a rookie, okay, that's okay because he's a rookie. Milton Williams is in year 2 now. He needs to be on the field more. Jordan Davis is going to get on the field more. And how are they going to get on the field when you have Cox and Hargrave in front of them?
Yeah, I think Milton Williams will get some edge rushing snaps this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, LB. That's a great point.
Look,
he can slide outside.
If you look at Robert Quinn and where he's at in his career, I think Andre Dillard is, you might have to add something to it to sugar it up a little bit, but I don't think it's a far-fetched just to really start negotiations at Dillard for Quinn. You're talking about a rental pass rusher for a guy who you might be able to lock up for 5 to 6 years, depending on how he plays this year for you.
But
at left tackle,
where's Dillard going to play? He can only play left tackle, so unless
no. We're talking about the Bears, right? You're talking about what I'm saying is,
if he goes for the Bears, he could be a 5-10 year starter for them.
Correct. And so you're talking about a 5-10 year starter for the Bears to give us a guy, Robert Quinn. He only got what he's on a 1 year deal, 2 year deal.
Quinn's under contract for 3 more years. He makes about $17-18 million. He got 18.5 sacks last year. He had like 13.5.
How old is Quinn now?
Quinn's about 32 or so.
So you want to get rid of our 30-year-old for a 32? Look, I'm not getting rid of Hargrave. I'm trying to extend him this year, to be honest. I'm not,
This is the thing, though. So the thing that's scary for me about Quinn is that the only thing that could stop him is injury. If he continues to stay healthy in the twilight of his career, I think he'll be productive to like 35. Dude is still an animal.
Oh, he's in phenomenal shape.
But once you get hurt that old, then that's when it starts to kind of slow down for you. So, Von Miller has been able to avoid that.
And if the Hargrave is too much of a stretch, and I can understand where people would say that, even a Dylan Rager trade package for Quinn.
Send them.
Because the Bears have like 2 decent receivers on the roster. The Bears, I think, are probably the least talented team in the NFC this year. I'm talking below the Giants and below the Falcons. As far as pure talent on both sides of the ball, they also have a whole new coaching staff, a whole new GM. So when I look at guys like Robert Quinn, I look at safeties Eddie Jackson, who I really liked and would have liked the Eagles to make a pitch for him instead of Tarp. Now, that would have required a trade because he's under contract, I would have loved that deal. They drafted Brisker in the 2nd round. That's Eddie Jackson's replacement probably by the end of this year. So I always when I look at trade partners, I look at teams that obviously have new regimes and have older, higher paid guys on those teams that aren't in those teams' long range plans. That's when I think you can get a good deal. And there's a lot of them around the league. You just got to, keep your eyes open to it. But and you get back to a big running back. There's about 4 or 5 big running backs, free agents right now on the market.
Yeah, I think
Balazs, you played for the Steelers.
Yeah, I think you'll see something closer to training camp.
Don't wait till summer.
They're not going to do anything now.
I don't think me personally, I really don't think that's a concern. Anytime you can lead the NFL in all-purpose rushing yards, what are we looking for? Are we looking for goddamn
a thumper back
to replace Howard? He's saying because what Howard provided yesterday.
Howard was a part of that. So I agree.
I also
but that's training camp.
The Eagles are going to be probably a 55 pass to 45 run ratio. They're not going to be running the ball 35, 40 times like they did last year. They did it last year basically out of necessity for a couple reasons. A, the wide receivers weren't ready or productive. B, Hurts was still learning the system.
Oh, yeah, I agree 100%.
You don't want your quarterback running 600-700 yards. It's great that he can do it, but you can't win playoff football.
You don't want to expose
the quarterback running 12, 15 times a game.
He does make smart plays though, making sure he doesn't take the legit contact that other quarterbacks have done. So he does
his
play
capability, gaining when there's a broken down play. That's awesome, and that's probably when he's almost at his best.
One of his best traits.
But I think they want him to throw more.
I agree. Listen, we paid a receiver $100 million. It's time to get the ball to your $100 million man. Hey, Paul, we appreciate you. We got to get a couple other people in here though.
Guys, good luck with everything and keep it going.
Always.
You got it.
All right. Coming down the home stretch, we got Twitter, Rome, Rob. What's going on with you?
What's going on, bro? Shit, I'm on my phone,
Chilling.
so if it sounds low.
Nah, you sound crystal clear, just like
what
the Eagles been doing.
Shit, man. Where you guys want to start?
Where you want to start, Rome?
Right? Look, so all the love that's being given to the Eagles, is it too much, or are we gonna answer the call?
Personally, I mean, I have mixed feelings about it because at the same time of the guys talking about how good we might be or whatever the case may be, that's betting on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like if you gotta talk like that, that means you're betting on yourself. So I'm cool with that aspect of it, but at the same time, I like to kind of savor the moment and punch people in the mouth, you know what I'm saying, when the time calls for it. You know what I'm saying? Like all this. And I look at teams like the Patriots, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that we got to measure up to the Patriots, but they've had Super Bowl teams for how many years? And have you heard any of those guys speak of their teams prior to the season being all-star teams? You know what I'm saying? So that's just kind of how I feel about it. But at the same time, I don't mind the guys talking the way they talking if they're gonna bet on themselves.
Yeah, and that's a good point because Miles Sanders is betting on himself. Like he has to perform if he wants to remain an Eagle or if he wants to go somewhere and get a big payday. You know what I mean? Jalen Hurts also got a lot riding on this season. You know, it's a bag. If Jalen Hurts can win a playoff game, he's gonna get extended. It's a lot riding on this for a lot of people.
Miles, I don't think Miles is in no predicament. He's not in no predicament to be talking. You know what I'm saying? Like Miles needs to shut up, come in, run the ball hard, get in the end zone, do his thing. He's who the hell is Miles Sanders to be talking? And this is coming from an Eagles fan, diehard. I love Miles Sanders, but bro, what have you like Saquon Barkley talking about? Oh well, I'm about to do this, that, and the third. Like, yeah, you was great in college, but what have you really done? Like, and I understand the injuries and the lack thereof of opportunity. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like you gotta show us something, bro. You're not no shady. Not yet. That's just how I feel, and I know I got strong opinions, but that's just how I feel about it.
I agree in the sense that because he was supposed to be a shady type, you know, I was hyped. You got to look at just everything. The fact that they were the same height, same weight, same draft pick, 10 years apart. It's crazy. But Miles Sanders, you know, there's no one in the league that's going to look at what he could do when he's healthy and say that he's not a skillful player. And that's where, you know, he's been in the league for, he had 3 years straight of 5+ yards per carry. And that list is slim. The greatest runners in the game will have two years and then maybe one of the years no one has 3 years 5 yards of carry except for a very short
Barry
list.
Sanders, guys like that.
Yeah, the list is really short.
I feel like those 5 yards of carry, that's great. You know what I'm saying? Like if you continue that if you look at the lineage of that stat line, that calls for a great running back. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I feel like it's a little bit misleading because what has Miles Sanders really done? You know what I'm saying?
It is. I think it's misleading because when you look at the list of guys who've done things like that, those guys were the focal points of the offense. Like Barry Sanders was the offense for the Lions when he was like, you knew Barry Sanders was getting the ball. It's times where Miles not even on the field. So like this, Mike. Miles Sanders will have 3 good games, then he hurt. That don't change your average because you hurt. Basically, what you last did, your average still stays the same.
But they also do a minimum of this many carries because it got to be. It can't be the guys who just come in and get 3-4 carries a game. But I agree. Look, by no means. Look, I've said multiple times I don't think Miles Sanders can find a way back on the roster after this year. That's not me saying that I don't think he has an opportunity to be good. Speaking of opportunities, he wants more, and so I think we're gonna see if we do not pick up another thumper. I think you're gonna have you're gonna have plays designed for Kenny G, but I think this is the year that Miles Sanders will be used.
I think we gotta treat Miles Sanders like the fat kid on Matilda eating that chocolate cake. Keep giving them cake. Keep you know what I'm saying? Feed him.
Yeah.
Real talk. You know what I'm saying? But
you got to.
To
really see what you got, you got to give Miles Sanders like 20 carries a game. If you really want to see what you got, you got to give him the workload.
This is what I'll say about the average, the 5 yards of carry. That shows what he's capable of. But nobody's doubting what he's capable of. You know what I'm saying? We know with the exception of him dancing, you know what I'm saying? I think he kind of got away with that. And last year he started to hit the hole a little harder and right away. You know what I'm saying? But we just gotta see that Miles Sanders that just keeps his mouth closed and goes to work. That's what I'm looking forward to. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But
it's an uphill battle for him to because look how running backs are being treated nowadays, right? The money's not really there. If you pay them too much, at the end of the day, their position gets run into the ground. And so when you pay a player after being in the league for 4 years, you're paying them for 3 more years. Most more than not, the running backs are not going to be better 3 years after they've been in the league 4 years already getting pounded. Like Zeke, for example, this man, what he did for the Cowboys all them years was great. And when they paid him, he's good. He's a B, but he's never been that A+ runner that he once was because of the style. CMC just got paid. Now all the injuries are happening, right? Alvin Kamara just got paid. Now the injuries and the suspensions are happening. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think with running backs, you see teams like the Rams. They had a great running game, not a huge name there. The Niners, great run game, not a huge name there. So I think the league is starting to say, like, man, you get the O-line right, you call the right run plays, get the guys blocking. I feel bad for running back if you're not a Derrick Henry. And again, CMC got the bag, and now he's starting to show like
wear and tear.
Right.
Yeah, this is the thing, man. Anybody can run behind this Philadelphia Eagles offensive line. That's why if you go out there and get a guy like Kareem Hunt, everybody is replaceable on the roster for real.
If we get
Including
Kareem
Miles
Hunt,
Sanders.
bro, if we get Kareem Hunt, that'll remind me of Jay Ajayi, because Kareem Hunt don't care about his body. He's gonna put his body first. He's gonna, but for real though, that's what we need. Look at Jay and his production, how conducive that was to our success. Like, he was falling forward. He was averaging 4 yards a carry, if not more.
He was a beast.
That's the type of running back we need, who's gonna get those yards right away. Like, but
even Jordan Howard, man, I just begged for him to get more touches, man. Jordan Howard could have had a 1,000-yard season with us, man, multiple times in a row, man.
We ruined him.
Just gave him the ball.
We ruined him from the start, though. I don't know what happened. It was because he came to us in that era when we were cursed. But you come to us, you automatically injured, and he just had like a stinger for 3 years, bro. And when he gets that stinger, he runs upright, and then he's not the same. He wasn't the same at the end of the year. But if you could just savor him, what he was for us when he was fine, he was legit, and he came from the Bears as like a 2-3 years in a row 1,000-yard rusher behind the Zeke Elliott only, and we ruined them, bro. We ruined them.
You know what I mean? And I love Boston Scott, but we out here extending Boston Scott, man. Boston Scott is not a guy I don't think durable enough to carry the load, but then somehow, some way he keeps carrying the load. And like when you need him right in the season at certain points, he's always there to answer that call. I just think you need to really do your due diligence this upcoming draft and really find you a young, like Javonte Williams type of guy, man. You got to find you somebody like that.
You get a young thumper, because now he got all the tread on the tires to pair with Kenny Gainwell, and that might be the future because of what Miles has done in his time to get a contract. And it being up this year, it just looks like if Kenny Gainwell shows that he's more than capable, well, then it's a bad business decision to pay a guy who, you got the guy who can do what Kenny Gainwell is brought in here to be, the pass catching, scat back type guy who also is not afraid to lower the shoulder. And so you just get a thumper to match with him, and it might be bye Miles.
I think Philly 500 made a video about some talks about Latavius Murray, possibly, or you know what I'm saying, like that was up
from the Vikings. He's in Minnesota, right?
Was he?
He was for a minute.
He was on the Raiders for initially, and but I don't know where he went last year. But
He's free right now. He's free.
That's a good pickup for us.
But I mean, overall, man, like I said, I'm just chomping at the bit just to get to training camp, just to see
it's closing in. You
know what I'm saying? Like what we really have established. But to be honest, man, I'm really looking at Jalen Hurts. Our season is contingent on Jalen Hurts and his evolution, really, like his growth. But like that's the key fact. That's the focal point to all of this. That's what's gonna make us run. That's what's gonna make us pop. Like,
real quick now,
like he already has what it takes to win this division. But I'm looking at the things that's gonna make him elite, because we're looking at quarterbacks. They're getting better at a quicker pace nowadays. Like, dudes is jumping into that elite status, and it's not taking them. They don't have to
the Burrows, the Herberts, the Mahomes, the Allens.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're coming in right now, and they're showing us. Look at Josh Allen. Like if it wasn't for Pat Mahomes being great, we would have been talking about Josh Allen. You know what I'm saying? Possibly being in the Super Bowl because you never
He took a
know the
little longer,
matchups
but
of how they would have matched up against the Bengals. You know what I'm saying? But he made that jump right away, and there was talks about him. You know what I'm saying? Like earlier on in his he was he's like a 3-year quarterback now, but like in his first couple years, there was talks about him the same way we was talking about Jalen Hurts. Not really because he got a bigger arm, like he's a better quarterback, like we all know that, but there was still talks about him jumping and making that
accuracy, reading
elite,
defenses, all that good
leap.
stuff. Yeah.
Right.
So
So
before we get you out of here, let me ask you this. You say the season's on Jalen Hurts. So let me know your prediction 3 weeks out of training camp. We got to still see a lot. Jalen Hurts does the dang thing or no?
Jalen Hurts does anything. That's for damn sure. Come on, bro. I'm an Eagles fan. You think I'm gonna say something else? Come on, bro. You trying to set me up?
No, because when people start saying it's all on Jalen Hurts, you got the people that say that's why I gotta wait and see. I just want to know if you are one of the guys that are more wait and see, or you believe he is going to get it done. Because I say we got to see, but I believe. I'm a believer.
I believe he will get it done because last season he was making jumps from game to game. You know what I'm saying? Although it like blew up in our face in the playoffs. That's human nature for a guy to get there, and you know what I'm saying? We was playing the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Like he was probably wide-eyed, and that defense, they was salivating to get at Jalen Hurts. You know what I'm saying? They knew his weaknesses. So I think that's only gonna make him stronger. Like I really feel like he's gonna I feel like he during the offseason, like it was all a mental thing. Like I don't feel like he's gonna collapse under that mental pressure like Carson Wentz. But I feel like he'll make that jump, and yeah, we're gonna get it done. But
I love it.
All right, Rome, man. I appreciate you,
bro.
dog, man. You always tapping in, bro.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate
Fly,
you, bro.
Eagles, fly.
Yes, sir.
All right, we closing down to the last couple. I'm about to take it off because it's getting a little late. So we got to get these last couple in.
Listen, if nobody gets you, we definitely gonna get you on the next one. If you in here waiting, and Mike is picking the people. He controlling the stream tonight. So
I'm as soon as someone goes out, I'm just getting the next one in line. So it's how long you've been waiting there. You know what I mean? It's Philly Ace.
Yo.
What's going
What's
on?
good with it?
What's good, LB? Yo, man. Your shit is on fire, LB. Shit's on fire.
I appreciate you, bro.
I was listening to that, John. Yeah, it's on fire.
I appreciate that, dog. Thank you for streaming.
Yeah, I was listening on YouTube. Yeah, I was listening to it as well.
Mm-hmm. What you got? How you feeling? How you feeling about the Birds, man? How you feeling about how you feeling about just the temperament of the team overall? You satisfied with the moves that were made?
Yeah, man, I'm very satisfied with the moves that were made. I mean, from top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Top to bottom, but but I'm still going around 100% with Jalen Hurts. I mean, he gonna get it done this year.
Yeah, I don't think he got a choice. You know what I mean? He got everything. Everything's around him. The coaches is right. You know what I mean? The wide receivers on deck. You got running backs hungry, talking in the media. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody ranking us high on every list imaginable. So he got to do it. If he want to get the money. Bottom line, that's what it comes down to at some point in your life. If you want to change your family life and the people around you, you just got to do your job at a high level. And Jalen Hurts got millions and millions of dollars looking at him right in his face if he do his job this season. That's the bottom line.
And my thing is, man, we're gonna get through everything this season, man. With the AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, man. I know they're gonna do their thing, Miles Sanders, and the main person I do like as a running back, Kenny Gainwell. I hope they get him more involved, in my opinion. I just can't wait to see what really happens for this season and things like that. With training camps coming around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see where they're really at, though. Most likely.
Yeah, and we're gonna get a real good feel of that when camps start. We're gonna get a real good feel of that. We probably not gonna listen. The way that Nick Sirianni approaching these camps and these training camps, don't look forward to seeing these guys in preseason at all. You're gonna look forward to seeing guys on the bubble. Like I don't expect to see anybody that means anything to the success of the team playing preseason. So we really, really won't know until we play the Detroit Lions week 1 for real, for real.
And them joint practices, I think, is where they're gonna try to feel people's out.
You're right, Mike. Yeah.
I like that. I don't care about that. All I care about the regular season.
I hear you.
Yeah, like see how everything plays out to me in my opinion. And on the defense, man, we definitely good with the linebacker department. The front four, things like that. And I begin about to have a lot of confidence in Mike Epps, that could take that role.
Marcus Epps.
I'm sorry.
You pulled the LB. I've been calling him Mike Epps for the whole offseason.
Oh shit, I'm gonna say Marcus Epps. Yeah, I mean, he should be match up real good with James Bradbury, things like that. Get Quasi Tart, that we actually picked up. I said, oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
You're right. So before we get you up out of here, give me somebody on the offense and defense that not getting talked about enough that's gonna ball before we get you out of here. I appreciate you though.
Facts.
I got a feeling that it's had to be for the defense. I would say Milton Williams, Davion Taylor, and for like the offense. Oh, that's a tricky one.
That's a hard one too.
Yeah, offense. That's kind of tricky. Like I don't know who it is. I just got a feeling it's gonna be Quez Watkins in my mind.
Hey, that's the sleeper.
I ain't mad at that. Right.
That's the sleeper.
Yeah, Quez Watkins. Who else? I'm trying to think of.
I like Gainwell. I like Gainwell to be explosive this year. I think Gainwell going to take off this year.
Yeah, I say I like Gainwell as well. I kind of really like the kid. I hope he does too. That's all that really matters.
Hey, I hear you. Good talk. I mean, Gainwell, Watkins, Taylor, Williams, all young players that are trying to make their mark on this team with all these big vets and big names. Listen, just because their name is big, you heard what Quest said. My job don't change. I like that attitude. I appreciate you, Philly Ace 21.
All right, Philly Mike and LB.
All right, Ace, have a good one. We could take one more, and we're gonna wrap it up.
Yes, sir. So we got the Philly Ace.
Yo, what's good, fellas? What's good?
What's up?
Flowers everywhere and back at you with the back at you.
Flowers everywhere.
Yo, guys.
Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, you already know flowers.
Hey, look, listen to this. When we say we're not traditionalists, Philly, we go by the beat of our own drum. We don't listen to what everybody else say. We want to say that we're an all-star team. We stand on that. We gonna back Philly down, man. Come
That's
on,
what I'm
man.
talking about. Oh, you about to talk spicy? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Get out of here with that stuff. Everybody just hating on us because they're scared of us now. They're scared.
What else?
Yeah, and then and here's another thing. These Dallas Cowboys, people that put Dak Prescott in the top 12. My opinion, he's not. The reason why I say he's not in the top 12, I think he's below, like 15 and below, is because a lot of times that Dallas had to come back from behind because he started off trash in the beginning. So when you have to come back, of course your stats are going to get better when teams lay back on you. So I don't want to hear it. People make excuses all the time saying that he's a this, he's that. I'm just giving you how I feel about it. Carson Wentz earned what he got. Mm-hmm. He took a team with garbage players to the playoffs that year. Dak could have done that. Dak would not be able to have pulled off what Carson Wentz did that year that we had when he got injured in that playoff game. So right there, he's in the bottom echelon of 15. You can't tell me anyway. That irks the hell out of me when they put him in the high echelon. I mean, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, he has talent, but he's not up in the top 12 in my humble opinion. And Jalen Hurts, who's gonna ball out, man? Everybody is so down on him because in college. Hey, Tim Tebow took Denver to a playoff and won a game. So I don't want to hear you can't compare. You can't start knocking him because he was bad in college. Of course, he's got stuff to work on. Every quarterback has stuff to work on.
He's 23, right? He's only 23 years old. Cut him some slack.
Right.
And Lamar Jackson gets so much praise, but I know people that are Baltimore fans that don't like him because he's not as accurate either. So I ain't trying to hear it. So Philly stands on what we stand on. We're going to the chip, dog.
Let's go. You want me to get it out?
Let's go.
Listen, when we had T.O. come here, when he came here with McNabb, their first preseason game, when he hit T.O. on that pass, I said, we're going to the Super Bowl. And what happened? We went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We would have won it if McNabb didn't choke. That's my opinion. But we're going to the chip, fellas. We have the
Let's
schedule.
Let's go. Let's get the confetti out, man.
We have the easy schedule. So there's no excuse for our team to have letdowns. This should be able to propel us to be like to forward because we're not playing the big higher talent. So if we have any kinks, we have an availability to work it out. So once we get to that postseason time, when we get on fire at the right time, look out. The Rams ain't gonna have nothing for us. Tom Brady's I want to play Tom Brady because I jinxed us last year, Mike. I jinxed us. Remember last year? I said we're gonna be down 24-0, and we were down by that.
You were in the chat there with me. I remind you. I said, "Hey, your first part is right, but the second part didn't exactly come to fruition."
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. I think that if everything goes, the only thing that worries me is our defensive coordinator, whether he's going to blitz too much or he's going to lay back and let teams do that quick drop-offs. You don't want that because then you're going to let them move down the field or control the ball. If we can, if that's why that's the only thing that worries me about the team in totality. Because if we let teams think and dunk on us, letting them playing back off them, I mean that can hurt us.
Yeah,
I think we're going to the chip, homie. I'm standing on that. Just like Miles Sanders said, we feel like an all-star. Hey, like LB said, we stand on that. We don't get knocked off our block. You gotta knock us off. And one more question before I'm out of here. How you think Wentz is gonna do with the Commanders? Because I still think he has talent and all. Do you think he's gonna be? Do you think the Commanders are gonna be in second, or do you think Dallas is gonna take? I believe we're winning it, so it's between them two for second spot. Who do y'all think realistically will take second spot? If y'all, we know Carson Wentz since he's been here, and I think that a lot of things had to play that ruined his mental here. And when Nick Foles coming in and winning our Super Bowl, I think that destroyed him. Right after that, I think him and that ACL and that destroyed his whole brain. And then when he had to go through that other season where he had to play with nobodies, I think that's what really destroyed him. Where we had to get rid of him, you know.
So LB, how you feel about Carson before we let him go?
That's a good question. I never thought about who would come in second because I always just been saying we're gonna come in first. But I think I kind of think it's still gonna be Dallas because I just don't think this is the right division for Carson. This is gonna be too many memories, man. He's been here before. He's played in Jerry World. He had tough times there. He owned the Giants, so I don't think that's going to change. But he might surprise us, man. He do got Scary Terry. He might surprise us, man.
Yeah, don't say no more about. Don't put Dallas up in second place, man. Come on, man.
It ain't first. It ain't first. It ain't first. And you know what? This is what I know about Dallas. They ain't got the heart to get no wild card. They don't do that. They don't know how to fight from behind and still get in the playoffs. When the last time the Cowboys had a wild card? But that's
when was the last time they won the Super Bowl? Remember that?
Come on, man. I was 6 months.
Yeah,
we appreciate the Philly Ace. Stay tuned, man. We're gonna have a lot to talk about when we hit that season. We're gonna need that energy. You know
Definitely
what I mean?
Appreciate you, my guy.
All right, guys, have a good one.
You too.
All right, real quick, because they've been in here. We're gonna get a double. We got Jay Quest and
Double
Lenny Enzo.
entendre?
Real quick.
Yo, what's
First of all,
happening?
where you at where it's still sun out?
Oh man, up in Las Vegas, LB.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, I'm West Philly, 49th and Westminster. I moved out here 4 years ago. Feel me?
Okay. Shout out to
You
West
know what I
Philly.
mean? Philly Mike, my man. You know what I mean? LB, that track was fire. You know what I mean?
I appreciate you, bro.
All I'm gonna say is Lord Bronson, the back at you with the back at you, talking everybody snatch you. You know what I mean? I was like, one day when I get my studio back up, OG gonna, send you a track. I'm gonna make something for you, man.
Let's do it.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna make something for you. But yeah, I don't want to take the brother's time for introducing himself. My bad.
No, it's all good. Long time no see, Mike. How you doing, man? And pleasure to meet you, LB.
Hey, nice hair, man. Nice to meet you, man. What's your name, bro?
No, it's Lindy End Zone, man. Taking the lead for Eagles one video at a time. You already know.
Yeah, I know who you is, man.
Yeah. Good to meet you now.
Yeah. So how y'all feeling, man? So like the moves that were made during the off season, the Miles Sanders comments. How y'all feeling right now going into training camp?
Miles Sanders, to me, he always silently talk a little trash here and there. So I'm not really too concerned with that. He just needs to stay healthy. Like, to me, he's a good back. But if you ain't healthy, it's like he get 800 yards and get hurt. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like he go on vacation. So as far as I'm concerned, like he need to get 1,000 yards. You know what I mean? Because the opportunities would have been there. He's talking about opportunities. He was hurt. You know what I'm saying? So if he was healthy, he would have got 1,000 yards that year. You know what I'm saying? And for me, the only time that he didn't get 1,000 yards when he was having those 50, 60-yard runs. And I think Doug was still the coach or something. And Doug really wasn't running the ball like that. So when Miles got the ball, he was doing 50-yard runs. And he still had like 700-800 yards. I forgot what year that was. But, you know what I mean? Like, as far as the moves, man, like, we got a complete team. I think Isaac on the right guard, he's a vet. So I think the offensive lines, they stay healthy, they're going to be good. Like, of course, the narrative is always going to be Jalen Hurts. But to be honest with you, like what I typed, the season is going to rely on the coaching. I'm going to tell you why. The first 7 games, the coaching, Nick Sirianni, was trash. He went out there and coached the game like it was a Phillip Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts. Like he had a 5-6-year, 10-year vet quarterback. If you think about, we won 9 games, we would have easily won 12. And we played Tampa Bay, he reverted right back to the 1-7 game calling. If y'all watch that game, he went right back to the game calling. We already know Jonathan Gannon, he was trash. Everybody want to talk about personnel. So to me, you had Jalen Hurts, first year left tackle. People don't want to talk about that. In and out right guard. People don't want to talk about that. Dallas Goedert, first year, wasn't even a full year tight end.
Our offensive line was good though still.
But here's the thing, Philly Mike. But the facts is the facts. He still was a first year left tackle. You know what I'm saying?
Now
he was and the right guard was in and out. So the offensive line, if we were to talk about facts, the facts is Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert with the first year starting tight end didn't even start the whole season. We want to talk about wide receivers. They were rookies. So to me, the quarterback didn't do that bad last year. I ain't worrying about Jalen Hurts this year. It's going to be the coach at the end of the day.
Listen, I agree with you in the sense of, look, there was a lot of first this, but to me, like, the offensive line was a bread and butter last year. And I can't say that, somebody didn't do what they should have did because of the O-line. I will agree with you with the coaching. I will agree with you that, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played us in a way that they got up early, first of all, and they put 8 in the box. I think that now you got the weapons to have more one-on-ones, guys that can consistently win and make it easier on Jalen Hurts. I'm a believer, but I can't say anything about the offensive line, because even though right guard was hurt, right? Listen, if you look at what Herberg did, what Driscoll came in and did, and all these guys, they played, and that's why Herberg is playing on other teams. So, offensive line got better. And the chemistry was made, and so you're always going to be better. Listen, Jalen Hurts' biggest thing is he wants to be an assistant for 2 years, and I think this is now he'll be at his most comfortable than he's ever been before.
Right.
And I get that, but when people was talking about the offensive line last year, this is what people don't want to talk about. We were the top running offensive line. Jalen Hurts was running for his life. Pass blocking, we were not that good. People don't want people. Now people say we had a good offensive line. We had a top running offensive line. Pass blocking was not that great. It wasn't. Jalen Hurts had to run for his life. Then people want to talk about
sometimes when he was running with some clean pockets. That's one thing that he's gotten better at. But let's not act like he didn't do that.
There's two games that I can pinpoint that I can say the offensive line was overwhelmed in the pass blocking department. Now, Vita Vea, for some strange reason, he just got Kelsey number. So, of course, against the Bucks, he just got Kelsey number. So, of course, against the Bucks and against the Dallas Cowboys, that first meeting, Jalen Hurts was kind of running for his life. The pockets were bringing down. But every other game, I feel like we were above average in pass blocking protection. That's just from what I see.
No, I mean I'm not going to say that we was trash, but if you have average pass blocking with average receivers, to me, Jalen Hurts did what he could with what he had to work with, and I think he'll be better this year.
I hope so. But there is a lot of film out there showing Jalen Hurts abandoning the pocket. That's what you don't want to see. In NFL offensive lines, if they give you an amount of time that the Eagles offensive line was giving you, you should be able to be more productive than what you was last season. It was a learning curve situation for Jalen Hurts. So, you can't ask the offensive line to block for 15 minutes. And at the same time, you got to be able to get the ball out your hand when you got good protection. So I think it's going to come together. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, and look, and you're exactly right. And the way I look at it too is, a lot of first-year quarterbacks go through that. They one read. But for some reason, Jalen Hurts got extra slack, because he did 4 games the year before. I'm just tired of hearing the slack on Hurts, man. I just can't wait for the season so he can prove that he is developing, man. Because just over this past almost year and a half, just the hate on Jalen Hurts that's been painful for me to listen to. I started not you guys, but some of the other guys, when I would hear about Jalen Hurts, man, they get a thumbs down. I move on to somebody else. I wait for y'all to come on or something. I'll be like, come on, another episode about Jalen Hurts, man. Like, come on. But I'm gonna let the man take it, man. Listen, and I appreciate y'all fellas, though.
All right, be easy, bro. Live that best life. Go ahead and put 50 on number 19 roulette. Thank me later.
Yeah, right? Hey, look, I need to calm down with gambling. I make sure my fiance get the money for the bills, though. I tell you that.
All right, man. Enjoy that good weather out there, bro.
All right, take care, fellas.
All right.
Peace.
All right, so
there you go.
We're gonna get you calm, cool, collective. You gonna take us out of here.
Yeah. So I mean, well, of course, I can only touch on so many different topics, but bounce off what we just got done talking about. I think in terms of Miles Sanders, a lot of stuff's being blown out of proportion right now with him just going off of a limb and people saying, "Oh, he's going off of a limb," saying about an all-star team. Okay, well, where he's coming from is when he first became a Philadelphia Eagle. He worked up in the ranks of, dealing with the first team in 19, and 19 we had plenty of holes on that team, and he had to come in and be almost a definitive number 1 running back. So him dealing with just the amount of different holes that the team had in terms of depth. And he goes from 19 and then he goes to 2020, to which came into a lot more of a dumpster fire. So now, the trend's going downward with him and being on the team. And, I think his mindset is that, he's as much in company with Jalen Hurts that they both have a winning mentality, that they want to be winners on the same football team. So you go into 2021, stuff is kind of on the rebound here. The teams, there's a little bit more of a positivity going on with the coaching changes and player acquisitions, guys, full of promise coming out of the draft. And now you get into 2022 and, you look from Miles' point of view and he's looking across the board. Well, he's like, okay, well, the defense defense is starting to look star-studded, and now the offense is starting to look star-studded. We have a receiver tandem now. We have a definitive number one tight end who's going to take the majority of the snaps, in Dallas Goedert, who doesn't have to really fight for them anymore with Zach Ertz. And he's like, well, wait a minute. All right, now we're in good shape because, well, the conversation has been, Eagles or Dallas Cowboys, and hearing all this stuff about how the Cowboys have had, a better roster in this year and this year and this year. Okay, well, now he's riding the coattails. He's riding the coattails about it. So I'm not gonna throw his feet to the fire, as crazy as other people are, because he's just suffering from an overwhelming feeling of excitement based on his beginning.
Now my team is good.
Right. That's basically what it is. So, I mean, yeah, he can be as excited as he wants, but again, in terms of what AJ Brown was talking about, he's like, okay, well, AJ was not just from a fit standpoint in the offense, but we've been talking about for how many years the position that the Eagles have been in terms of wide receiver, and looking for this guy that has a leader type of mentality. And that's where a guy like AJ Brown becomes a perfect fit in that scheme, because, well, as much as we love Devontae Smith and having that disciplinary mindset coming from Alabama, and him and Landon Dickerson being built the same way, I don't think Devontae Smith is in a position to do that yet. So now you insert AJ Brown, who is perfect for that role, and bringing up some of these younger kids to know what it's like to be a professional NFL football player, and a guy in AJ Brown who has already proven the amount that he did as a Tennessee Titan in 3 or 4 years, having multiple 1,000-yard seasons, Pro Bowls under his name. But in terms of him, it's just being healthy, because, well, the knee scopes do concern me a little bit, and physical receivers, they're going to be subjected to a lot more contact, and he has to absorb that kind of contact, whether they feature him in the slot, which he's capable of doing, whether they put him outside where he can take advantage of one-on-one opportunities that he always seems to end up winning. But yeah, I mean, when assessing what Miles Sanders was saying, yeah, there's nothing wrong with him being that excited, but it's good to have a guy in AJ Brown to tone him down a little bit and just be like, okay, bud, well, let's take it one step at a time first. And then let me see.
I'm not really, before you continue, I'm not really mad at that, because AJ Brown did come from a winning culture as well, though. They won games over there, so I get
big brother them. He big brother them. That's it. Yeah. Big brother them.
Yeah, it's perfect. Right. What else? The Javon Hargrave conversation was interesting to me, because I'm with you on this, Mike. I don't think it's a good idea to try and move on from both Fletch and Javon at the same time, and not putting him in a position for an extension, because really, we've known the Eagles for years at, what is one of the most important things that they try to do? They try to beat the market when it comes to these players. They want to sign their guys early, so they're not subjecting themselves to a market reset and have to overpay in terms of value for what a player brings to their football team. In the case of Javon, I would not be surprised if he gets an extension prior to the season starting, being that his contract is up. Darius Slay is going to be in that conversation, maybe as early as this year, because he's going to be up for a restructure in his contract, since his salary cap hit next year, I think, is like $26 million. So I don't think the Eagles are going to want to keep that on their radar. But I'm under the mindset of, you have to have at least one staple on your defensive line to really coordinate and command all the youth that you have behind you. Yeah, Tracy Rocker has experience at the NFL level in being a defensive line coach, but now it's really only his second consecutive year for the Philadelphia Eagles. So you kind of have to build, or you kind of have to maintain a veteran type of structure around that. And this isn't to exclude Brandon Graham or anything, because he is in his own realm of trying to come off that Achilles at the edge rusher position. But the point is, I still want to try and maintain someone here that these guys can look up, that can look up to as a coach on the field per se. So I'm not in a position of trying to not consider keeping Fletch and Javon Hargrave, although I would prefer Javon over Fletcher Cox.
But could that captain of the defense come from the linebacking position? Because Nakobe Dean was really, really good at that at Georgia, of letting everybody know where they had to be, behind him and in front of him. But he's a rookie too, so you can't really count on that this year. So I see what you're saying, though. It is good to have somebody there that could be a complete leader of the defense.
And that's just to single out primarily the defensive line from that standpoint as to what I was talking about. But Nakobe Dean, he has that in his DNA to be a commanding force, much like Jordan Davis is a force on the field and attracting triple teams the way he did at the collegiate level. I mean, that's just freakish. I'm sorry, but there was something else I wanted to bring up that was interesting. Oh yeah, I made a video about it. So there's conversations that we typically, try to avoid because they're either unpopular or the opinion is unpopular. But we always seem to have these kinds of players that we just have no faith in left anymore. Whether we want to add, whether we want to talk about Jalen Reagor immediately or somebody else that I can mention, JJ Arcega-Whiteside right now in his positional transition from wide receiver to tight end. Well, to me, what if I told y'all that I do think that there is one saving grace to him either staying as a Philadelphia Eagle or maintaining his career in the NFL? Well, you'd probably call me crazy right now, right? Just because of what we've been dealing with J-Jaw ever since selecting him as a second-round pick coming out of Stanford. It seems far-fetched right now because of how far he has not come based on expectations.
So how does he stay in the NFL with the Eagles?
As a tight end?
Well, so what I decided to do is,
I bring in Jeffrey Lurie his lunch.
No, I think with a new regime of offensive minds in here, between Sirianni and Shane Steichen, and then the tight ends coach and Jason Michael, based on how Arcega-Whiteside was built as a receiver and him having to bulk up for the tight end position, so now he's closer to 240 pounds at 6'2". Well, who was built exactly the same way on that Super Bowl winning football team that threw the pass to Nick Foles in the Philly special?
Trey Burton.
So I mean, Trey that year,
right.
But no, I mean, from a serious level, this may be comedy to the majority of Eagles fans, but there's a legitimacy to it.
No, I think it's a legitimacy to it as well. I think that the big thing for him is, can he block? That's the biggest thing, because you're being a tight end. I think he can catch well enough. I think he might have better hands than Trey Burton. I just think Philadelphia got a hold of him, and now he's scared. But if he can block, I think it's some value there.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Besides that first year where he was put in the games and failed in front of us with not running the right routes and dropping passes, he hasn't been able to even impress the coaches enough to where he's in the game. And I remember a Battlebirds podcast episode where I simply watched Howie Roseman and him have a conversation, and he became ineligible to play. And I was waiting for the reports that I didn't want it to happen, but to say, oh, somebody in his family was, it was an emergency of some sort. Good, bad, ugly, sad. But they just, his story is not. Jalen Reagor was a first-round pick that makes a good catch and then 7 bad catches. He's just not living up to that first-round talent, but he could go somewhere and be he can provide a roster spot that a coach feels confident to put you out there. JJ Arcega-Whiteside has done things unimaginable in the sense that late scratches, not being able to get on the field at all, like for the amount, 2 different coaching staffs, the Doug Peterson that drafted you, and then Nick Sirianni, they cut no practice Travis Fulgham, and they threw the ball to Whiteside twice or something. Like it's unimaginable.
The thing is, though, the
lack
thing is,
of usage.
Last year he impressed enough to keep him over Travis Fulgham. At last year's training camp. So you know what I mean. So the draft pick, he impressed enough. But then he also impressed enough to say, let's try him out at tight end. Because after Dallas Goedert, who you got? Richard Rodgers. You know what I mean? He's like 36. You know what I mean? And Arcega-Whiteside, I'm hopeful, man. I'm hopeful that if you can convert this guy properly, I know it's funny, bro.
I know. Yeah.
He's faster than the average tight end.
Yeah.
His jump ball ability is more athletic than the average tight end. It could work, Mike. I'm telling you.
I mean, these were a lot of the arguments that I came up today because I'm sitting at my desk and I'm like, well, okay. There's a lot of topics.
For a long time to come up with the Whiteside.
Well, no, I mean, there's a lot of topics going on that are similar, across the space of content creators and everything. And I didn't want to regurgitate anything, so I'm like, okay, let me pull something out that I know is sensitive in a way that everybody's gonna completely turn it down. Like there's no chance of this happening. Okay.
I got cooked for that one like 5 months ago. I was on
right.
Yeah, I dropped my video when it first came out. But real quick, before I'm gonna let you go with the catching ability and blah blah blah. Who? Listen, the dude, we've seen footage in Stanford that he can move, he can catch, he can jump. It happened. It hasn't happened, and it hasn't pressed enough to do what he needed to do as a wide receiver. And let's not act like we got wide receivers. We just finally got wide receivers. So again, being able to play wide receiver for the Eagles don't mean you're a good wide receiver. If Greg Ward Jr., who I still got respect for, he goes to another team, he might fall back to the practice squad. He was only on our roster because that's how bad it was. All I'm saying is this: blocking Von Miller, blocking a linebacker is different than going out there as a wide receiver and blocking Nickel Roby-Coleman or whatever cornerbacks there. You got to put your hand in the dirt. There's a lot of difference there, but
you would be a fool. But that comes the game plan, though. You would be a fool to put him in that situation. If Arcega-Whiteside is on the field as a pass catcher, then that means you probably got 3 more wide receivers out there. You're looking for every pass catcher.
LB, listen though. If we got 3 wide receivers out there, that's only 1 tight end. I will never ever put Whiteside over Goddard. If you put Goddard,
that makes sense.
If you play 12 personnel and Whiteside and Goddard on the field, you're gonna tell me I'm gonna let Goddard stay in and block?
So
and run.
Whiteside has a good camp at tight end, a good preseason at tight end, and Goddard needs a blower or a breather. I'm not mad. I'm not mad if Whiteside comes in. So let me ask you this, Mike. Both of you guys, who has more value to the team right now, Jalen Reagor or Arcega-Whiteside?
Reagor.
How, Mike? How?
Because he's been put. The coaching staff used him.
He failed at wide receiver and at punt return. So where else does he go now? Cornerback?
No. But Whiteside failed at
one thing:
sitting on the bench. They had to change his position, bro. Let's not act like there's not. Let's not act like there's not a Mike Evans, a Mike. There's bigger receivers in the game. His story. Reagor stinks. Whiteside is like not a. I don't even believe he really. I don't know what he is. Like I can describe Jalen Reagor a failed pick. Who guess what? Nelson Aguilar failed us too, but he's over there making catches for other teams. Reagor will go somewhere and be a C+ receiver, right? Which sucks for your first round pick. But Whiteside, to me, I just don't know how he's ever going to get on the field because he just couldn't do it.
So I'll bring this into the mix, to go forward on with LB's point here. Okay, if we go back to the 2017 season, do you want to take a guess on what Zach Ertz's snap count officially was? He only played about 68% of the snaps. Brent Selleck was about 41% of the snaps. And then you look at Trey Burton at tight end 3. Now, may I add, to your point, Mike, a tale of two extremes here. Trey Burton was an undrafted rookie out of Florida. This the same college where we tried to make something out of Grimes. I can never remember his first name, but Grimes, the receiver that everybody had hype
Trayvon
about.
Grimes.
I think, Trayvon Grimes out of 2020 or 2021 or something. But that's besides the point. What I'm saying is
12 personnel though. Nick Sirianni got the receiver. He want to play 11. It's going to cut down from a lot.
Right, sure. But in the sake of comparing Rager and Arcega-Whiteside, I think they're honestly in the same position right now. However, Arcega-Whiteside has more opportunity because there's less depth at the tight end position. At this point, are we really definitive on who the number 2 is going to be moving forward? A lot of us like Jack Stoll right now because of the upside that he's brought as an undrafted rookie out of Nebraska. He has catching ability. He's a decent blocker. He's a better blocker than he is a pass catcher. Well, okay, so, you put Arcega-Whiteside into that mix. You put Grant Calcaterra into that mix. Richard Rodgers is still here. Noah Togiai is still here. And then, Tyree Jackson, we're hoping to come back from that ACL tear. So really, as far as I'm concerned, there's positions that are going to happen in this training camp where tight end 2 is wide open because it's going to come down to who best fits next to Dallas Goedert in certain situations. And that's where I feel
real quick. Sorry, but real quick, right? So we saw all through OTAs, right? We saw the Eagles we saw Jalen Reagor and I saw a lot of Eagle players that I'm thinking that are new are going to be good. And I saw guys who are going to prove it. Why is did you see JJ Arcega-Whiteside in any videos? Don't you think he should be working a little bit harder and sprinting hard to be the tight end? Like, listen, why is the Eagles social media team neglecting him? Like, I'm not just trying to be funny. I just think, I just don't. I've never seen a scenario this crazy where we keep saying that has value on the roster, but we refuse to put him in. Like, we refused.
Practice squad him. If you want to keep him around that bad, just put him back on the practice squad.
Is he,
until you broke down all of the damn tight ends we have, I don't think he's gonna make the roster now. I forgot about Jack Stoll. I forgot about Tyree Jackson. I don't think he's gonna make the roster. And I think the only reason why Rager's gonna make the roster is because he's like the 5th guy.
Yeah, and he's a first round, and
they're going to
pull that out. And it costs too much to cut him. It costs too much to cut Rager. So, if Howie Roseman took that next chapter and admit his defeat, I think Rager makes the roster. He would have to literally shock the world to get anything of what we've been asking of him on the field. I just think that he's going to be a guy that you're going to see maybe catch. He's going to be barely on the field. But listen, if I will come over here and apologize to J Jaw if the guy can do something. I ain't mad at apologizing. You know what I mean? Right. I'm not Skip Bayless. I'm calling him his name. I've never really seen a story of him. Like, I remember him getting scratched from games during it, suiting up, and then it's just like Rager and Nelson Aguilar. We've seen the epic failures, but they got open. That's why the ball was thrown to him. They ran the right route. They're making it on the field via the coaches during training camp. They're doing the right things there.
I think Whiteside a bum dog. I'm thinking that. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about those drop touchdowns. And then I'm thinking about Rager and the drop touchdowns. And
you can't make this up. You have your mom holding an umbrella over you in practice. Like, being foolish is being foolish, but that's just unacceptable. Listen, I ain't going around a group of guys that we about to, let's go, and be like, hold up, let me give my mom a kiss. I love my mom, right? And if she was still here, but that's home stuff. I'm not bringing my mom to work.
Dog, my mom ain't practice. My mom wouldn't even come to football practice to pick me up. You know what I mean? And that was my choice. That was my choice. I'll ride my bike back. I'll walk in the rain. This is no place for you because it's about to get dirty here. It's about to be a lot of cursing. You're about to be tackling. This is no place for you, Mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But no, I mean you're absolutely right though, Mike. Because I mean when you put Rager at a higher value, it aside from the first round pick, I mean him in the receiver position, he's a lot easier to trade, and I think going forward, what the Eagles are probably going to do, being that this isn't a last resort for him, that he didn't go through a position change, because that's more than likely that's what happens when you're kind of on your last legs in the NFL, that you're trying to make it at X position because you failed at the one that you were drafted at. That's where J-Jaw is right now. For him, I'm saying that, there is still maybe the tiniest dim of a light at the end of the tunnel if he's used correctly, and or if he shows that he can do something in a position that doesn't necessarily have a lot of depth to it, to where, okay, one comparison and contrast that we can make from this year's team coming up to the Super Bowl, the Super Bowl team. For instance, the running back position had a lot more depth than the receiver position did. When you go from LeGarrette Blount all the way down to a guy in Kenyon Barner, like all of them contributed in some capacity. And I think that's the position that Arcega-Whiteside could be in if he can show that he is still suitable enough to play the tight end position, even though he was unsuccessful as a wide receiver. But when it comes to Jalen Reagor, if it ends up not working out for him because the strength of depth is so strong at receiver, the Eagles know that they can get better value for him, aside from him being a first round pick through training camp if it doesn't work out. No one's going to take a flyer on Arcega-Whiteside right now because they're not going to try and convert him back to a position that he failed at unless they think he still holds value there. So yeah, I mean, I completely agree with Reagor over Arcega-Whiteside, but if they take the approach of using Arcega-Whiteside in a role that Trey Burton had, granted, again, like I said, in the Super Bowl run, he only had 25% of the snaps. And, there was key moments where he was needed, especially in that Rams game where Carson was utilizing him, Nick Foles was utilizing him. He could not be stopped, and he was double covered between a linebacker and a safety. Ogletree and John Johnson III just couldn't handle him at some points. So, I mean, if those are the kinds of opportunities that very well may present themselves to J-Jaw, then so be it. You have to take advantage when they're there. But I mean, yeah, so I'm thinking if an undrafted rookie can build his way up to that point, then a second round pick should be more than capable of doing the same thing. But I agree with your value of Reagor over J-Jaw.
You're right. Listen, you're drafted in the second round because the scouting department or somebody on the Eagles said that he is capable, right? That does not mean it's going to translate. Just like, you look at AB, 5th round wide receiver. He's a dog on the field. Tom Brady, 6th round wide receiver, quarterback. Everybody pass on him. Like the draft, your draft status matters when you're a rookie. Once you start doing something. So when Trey Burton was proven, I'm an undrafted free agent, a rookie free. I'm an undrafted guy, but I'm beating double teams. Well, then you proved it. This is a guy who got catered to, looked like off the field and on the field, and he ain't proved nothing. So to me, if Whiteside somehow does it, well, the kudos to him. I don't want the Eagles to be good. I'll buy a Whiteside jersey.
Howie Roseman is pretty smart what he did with Jalen Reagor, though. So you basically put a bunch of wide receivers who deserve more snaps around him, like A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins. These guys are going to get more playing time than him. That is what it is. So the excuse could be one or two things. We don't know. We still don't know because he's buried on the depth chart, and we're not going to put him out there so much that he's going to make a fool out of himself and nobody's going to want him. So he's just going to be talent sitting on a roster that's going to – I would trade him this year. I would trade his ass this year. I would get like a 4th round pick for him for next year's draft or something, for some more capital. I'll trade him this year.
It's still more than what the Browns got for Baker Mayfield. So with that being said, I think we done did it. Hey, Lindy, we appreciate you coming on. We're going to let you go. This is the longest me and LB's ever went.
Right.
I knew it was going to be a little longer with Collins, but long.
Sure. No, I just appreciate the both of y'all making me one of the the last to come in here, and so I think this is one of your first call-in shows that you've done on Goat Talk. I haven't been keeping count, but
it's the first.
It's a cool idea for you guys to do that. So I mean,
we definitely got to chop it up again, man. I like you, Lindy. We got to do this again.
I just appreciate meeting you overall, man.
Hey.
After after a while now, but yeah, thanks to the two of you, and again, thanks Mike for being on Touchdown Talk with me. Appreciate it, both of y'all. Fly
You
goes
already
by. You
know.
already know the deal.
Enjoy your night, bro.
Peace.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Peace. All right. Well, like I said, that was the last one. We took it all down, so we can't really see anybody if they are. But we gonna end it just like that, or just like, oh, my bad. We just gonna end it just like LB, what you got going on for the rest of this week? It's the middle of the week. Like I'm doing Go Talk. I think I'm about to not go to work tomorrow. But
you know what I'm saying, right? It's never. Listen, unless some breaking news happened, I probably won't even. I don't know. It's not really nothing happening. But keep your notifications on. I'll be around.
Yeah, listen, we are live on both channels. Listen, we still got 233 in for both channels. Definitely check them out. If you're not subscribed to one of the others on here, just go ahead and look at a video and see what you see. You're right, though. This is the time where we start, getting ready for training camp. And, I started to ask myself questions. This is what I do. This part of the year last year, I was doing a little bit more breakdowns, all 22, but
yeah,
it's still messed up on my version. I can't get the right ones, and I'm paying $100 a year for it, and they're gonna fix it for this upcoming football season. With that being said, this is when I sit down at work and I sit there and say, okay, let me think about something. And yesterday, what was on my mind was, who's going to have the most opportunities at wide receiver 3? And I talked about Zach Pascal versus Quez Watkins, how they played in the slot, their best year under Nick Sirianni. So that's pretty much what you're going to get from me. Some not breaking news stuff, but some little crunch down, breaking down some stuff. And I came to the conclusion I'll take Quez Watkins, but I think they both offer a lot in the slot. And Pascal wasn't brought here to just ride the bench. So we got a nice wide receiving core. And we appreciate all y'all for still rocking with us.
That's fact.
10-19. So until next time.
Right. I was reading comments. Philly John, what's going on? Shout out to y'all in the comment section, man. We're going to tap in next time with y'all. We out, man.